Yes, and Zane Parsons, current day spearhead for South Fremantle. That's the other end of the ground. Scott Thornton playing at full back. And as I say, has already made an appearance with the Fremantle Dockers last year. And welcome back into the side this afternoon. Picking up Scott Simister is Sean Tinsley. So that will be a very important duel in the context of this match this afternoon. A very, very important one for Peel Thunder. Yet to register their first win of the season. And desperate to get the 4 points. Will certainly take a lot of pressure off new coach John Ditchburn. There's no doubt about that. Ball up at centre field. Pears caught underneath it, but rucked it nicely. Hardy got a slick hand pass out. Teammate there was dragged out, almost carried forward, so Hardy gets it back again from outside 50. Kicks it up toward full forward. Simmers he was a chance behind. Now he soccers the ball goalward and has just missed, I think.
Behind, yep.
The wrong side of the post, so Peel first into attack, and a pretty promising move with Hardy giving them a lot of bite there from the midfield.
Yeah, he certainly was, and it's a blustery breeze. It appears on face value to be going across the ground, Phil. Good work by Simister in that first contest against Tinsley.
So Tinsley, his immediate opponent, got it to Hutchison, who drives down towards centre wing. Gilmore was looking for it. He may still get a chance to get possession here. He does, somehow. Gets it onto his left boot. That was untidy. Here's Bolton. Certainly Peel welcoming him back into the lineup this afternoon. Brandon Hill, been a good player in the last couple of weeks. This pass really misses its mark by a long way and puts Sinister under a lot of pressure. Hand pass back to the back up of Hill. This time the foot pass, well, it was marginally better. Looking for a teammate out there in Broughton, but fisted away from him by Thornton.
You can clearly see the struggle that the players had when Scott Simister and Sean Tinsley came to attack that football. There was a real tough ask for them to come into that breeze, so it's very difficult conditions.
Boundary throw into Puamanta Mary, sharking it beautifully. Hand pass to Thornton, who really does love to run away from defence. Does it well. Low pass. Chance now for Sergian. He gets support out there from North. Now Thornton, who's backed up beautifully. Atkins laid it off now to the run of Byrne, and Byrne into the pocket. Well, we spoke about him before the game. In fact, both of these men, Byrne in the midfield. He got it off to Parsons. Centering pass from Parsons. Good running by Bootsma. And that's one of the things you've got to watch out from Brad Bootsma, John. He loves to run deep into attack.
He certainly does. And you can see there he's a local boy from the District Cobra and had a couple of years with the Fremantle Dockers, and Bradley's now back to finish off his career with South, and hard running through the midfield got him into that vacant position, and it was a very good constructive kick by Zane Parsons.
30 years of age. Brad Bootsma, still plenty of skill as he kicks goalward, makes no mistake. Bootsma brings up the first, and that was a good passage of play by South Fremantle. Hard running by Thornton. He got some good cooperation in the middle of the ground by Jones. I think I said it was North, but Jones, and then, of course, Byrne, who delivered it to Parsons.
He certainly did. And, look, Scotty Thornton normally is playing at full-back, but because with the match-up that John North is gone with, Sean Tinsley is down there on the full-back line on Scott Simister. So that's freed Thornton up to basically play half-back. His direct opponent is Derek Hall, who we know is a very good player, but Thornton's run will be a worry if Peel don't counter that defensive run from behind the centre line.
So sunshine breaking through here is Stephen Pears, showing a lot of concentration, never gets into the contest. Reading it beautifully there was Bootsma. 2 kicks in succession. This one straight down the corridor. Great mark by Parsons. Well, that's his second. What a great effort. The one-hander, difficult to take in the swirling breeze. But Parsons, well, he had practiced this at training umpteen times during the week, John.
Yeah, he certainly would have. And an outstanding foot pass. One of Brad Bootsman's very, very good skills is his field kicking. And you'll see that the players, particularly the South guys, will understand to come to this side of the ground with that breeze blowing directly from right to left on the screen there. But Parsons should punch this low and hard to the right goalpost.
Punches it low, punches it hard, and as predicted by John Dorotich, the breeze does the rest. So South Fremantle, 2 quick ones from 2 of their real danger men, Bootsma and Parsons, and they've combined on a couple of occasions now.
They sure have, and the signs are very, very grim. You'll see the clearance out of here. Bootsma on the end of it. Foot pass. Parsons comes to this fat side of the ground. They're in a pretty delicate mark. He put a hand out there, but it fell in there, I think, accidentally. But he was very happy with the result, and you see that he kicked the ball low and flat here. Doesn't want to leave it up in the air for too long for the breeze to actually manoeuvre that ball around and away from between the 2 larger sticks.
Ricky Mott, having been with Sydney Swans last year. Byrne again, got it out to Mott. Mott was looking for Bootsma, but it's sharked out there. Peel Thunder now through last year's best and fairest. Darren Bolton weaves his way through the middle of the ground and then loses it. It's picked up again by Edgecombe. He kicks it very, very high. Kluke's doing the punching from behind. Reading it beautifully, Hildebrand nearly got the hand pass away before he lost balance. Kingsley Walker got it to a teammate who was completely blanketed out there. Kieran Newgill playing the ball along the boundary line before it breaks away from him and goes over.
Well, the scary part for Peel, I suppose, Phil, you look at the first four in that centre square bounce for South Fremantle. Ricky Mott, Brad Bootsma, James Burns and Matthew Clucas, four very talented players.
Very experienced as well. A lot of games between them. Mott and Pears. Well, Mott won it down rather easily. Got it to a teammate there in Gilmer, who kicked it across his body towards centre wing. Thornton well down the ground again. He soccers the ball through the centre square. Now goes after it again in the foot race. Thornton soccering. Could be some tactics to use this afternoon. Jones got it to Atkins. His hand pass goes astray, and Bolton elected to knock the ball into the clear, to the call, I assume, of Derek Hall. So that's good football as Hall now finds his teammate in Pears. Former South Fremantle player, of course. Pears got the ball on, up toward the half-forward line it goes. Chance now for Peel Thunder to work it forward once again. This time it falls short of Simster. Kicking the ball off the deck was Tinsley, and the mark has been paid out there to Hutchison. Clucas bursts away from the defensive 50, and Clucas directs it beautifully up the ground. Been taken out there by Jones once more, who's getting into the action. Kicks the ball into the path of North. That was clever football. North gathers it. Inside 50 now. Parsons again. His marking really is one of the features of his play.
Gee, they're doing it far too easy. South Fremantle are allowed to carry the ball easily into their front half.
Well, they're running very, very hard. This is North, who's run and accepted it again. He's kicked on goal and has missed.
That's that's really bad play by the defensive player there for Peel. Like, North was the one that got the wing that actually kicked the ball up into Zane Parsons' area, and a criminal sign not to run on and follow North beyond the ball. He ran from behind Parsons to put himself in attacking positions, and the Peel guy elected not to go with him, which is inexcusable.
South showing a willingness to really run in numbers. Shawcross brings the ball back into play. Broughton from behind affected the spoil, inadvertently won Fields. Ball's toe poked out towards the centre wing by Hardy. Getting there first is opposite number 8 in Jones, and under the tackle the ball is knocked away from him, or rather he hand passes it toward the line.
Well, there's no great real matchups down there. Marty Atkins, the captain, is playing centre half forward. Adam Hayes in the forward pocket. Ugle, Parsons down there.
Pears gets to the front. From behind was Mott. Pears ended up with the footy, just threw it onto his left boot, and he'll contest another boundary throw-in. That's North.
It's really important Peel start off well and get a couple on the board. They've got Bolton and Pears back in the side, but you wonder whether they can run out a full game as well, guys.
Well, they're two important players to have back in their spinner. At the moment, Mott doing well in ruck, won it, and only as far as Hildebrandt, who releases it. Broughton was there and may get a kick. No, he won't. The umpire said it was held to him. Chad Broughton gets up, and spectators here this afternoon obviously taking advantage of the shelter. Rain is expected and some cold squally winds, as we saw. Picking it up there is Byrne, ran into a lot of trouble, was unable to extricate himself, and the umpire calls for it once again. From Glenelg.
He came to South Fremantle because he didn't want to participate in sides that weren't competitive, Phil, and he's got his wishes. South are going very well year to date.
Hall got the ball out there to a teammate. A high kick came away from Klump. That'll bring some rain. Tapua Mantameri was in there. Hand pass came out from North to Thornton. Tapua Mantameri once again. Away he goes. He has got some class. Low pass into the breeze was good football. Whistle's gone, and I suspect it's going to be a South Fremantle free kick. Lucas will get it for a high tackle.
There's a pretty overzealous attack on the football there from the Peel defender there, and Matty Clucas, eyes darting left and right to find the right target. Here comes Parsons.
Straight down the ground. The lead, as John Dorothy said, came from Parsons. Reading the crumbs beautifully, Bootsma just doesn't quite get it to spin properly, but the breeze is doing some late work on it. Well, that's not what he intended, I think, to be fair. He just didn't get the ball to work for him off the boot, but the breeze is such, John, that it just brought it back from almost outside the behind post.
No, you're exactly right there. It was one of those ones you kick back to get back there, and you could see, and hopefully we've got a replay. You'll see Matty Clucas here. Zane Parsons was the man he was looking for, but did well to keep the ball alive. Bootsma here over his left shoulder. You can see it. A bit of the ball, it'll come down in a minute, but it certainly wasn't spinning like a normal hook banana kick from those right forward pockets. But Bradley Bootsma, 2 goals playing in the middle of the ground within 10 minutes of this first quarter is a danger sign for Peel.
He'll say, of course, that the floater was exactly what he intended. And South Fremantle through Byrne and Mott combined well to initially take possession. Then Peel are able to tie it all up. It's very scrambly. Well, the players ought to take advantage of this weather whilst we've got sunshine, John, because it may deteriorate.
Yeah, it might too. And, you know, the Peel guys in the middle of the ground have got to be very conscious that they've got to get their body in between Bootsma and Klukas and the like in the middle, because South are getting far too much access first.
A lot of players contesting this. Pears from behind, got it down to Bolton. Now he had it and then lost it, knocked it forward. Broughton. The hand pass was intended for Edgecombe. He got it back again, Broughton. This time he gets it off to teammate. A hurried kick from McLean down towards the forward pocket, but Thornton, he's just gathering it at will down there. He's almost got his own footy out there on Fremantle Oval. Directs it beautifully to Gilmore. On Fremantle's rookie list, Gilmore out very, very wide, looking there for Ricky Motfoot. It might bounce up for him. Got it to Galt. Long hand pass forward of the play. Now Hutchison in front of the scoreboard. One of South Fremantle's long-serving players. He goes to half forward and Hill takes a good saving mark. Now Shawcross loves to mop up across half-back. Goes to Edgecombe. And then goes the kick from Edgecombe straight down the middle of the ground. South Fremantle again doing well. Kirkham was the target, but he couldn't take it. Jones had it. Releases it. Now Kirkham gets his kick in very, very untidy. Electing to fist it away there was Mott. Back from whence it came. Now Hardy. Another hurried kick. Well, it went straight through the hands of Hutchison. Here's a chance for Pears. And Pears was taken high, but the advantage will be played. Simister will run into an open goal, and Peel have got there first. Well, they had to work very, very hard for it, and it cost Stephen Pears a bit of a biff on the nose.
Looks like he's going to come off the ground for a rest and be replaced there. But Scotty Simister there on screen, just on the end of the line there. Stephen Pears did very well to get himself. You'll see him here on screen. Got the handball over the top. Bit of a bump there from Sean Tinsley, but it's a very difficult one, as you can see there. Stephen unfortunately couldn't protect himself, but Peel get themselves on the board, and I suppose, Phil, from their point, halfway through this first quarter, they need to win another ball out of the centre, and young Rowan Asprey has come on to ruck for Peel.
Scott Simister with the entirety of Peel's
free kick to South, Phil, in the middle of the ground for an infringement from Peel.
Well, Hay takes it. He turns it into a hand cast. Hutchison gets the kick up towards centre half forward. Atkins was the target, knocked away by Woolridge. So Edgecombe got it out there to Shawcross, and then Shawcross delivers beautifully towards centre wing, and it's been marked out there by McLean. Hand pass not very tidy. Bolton needs a bit of support, but he doesn't get a lot. His teammates just hung off him. Now the ball squirts out. Edgecombe's been busy. Defensive hand pass to Shawcross. Tries to break a tackle and does it adequately, then steers the ball in towards centre half back and finds Broughton. Coming across the ground, Peel. This is Brandon Hill, who's got away from Marty Atkins, goes with a long kick toward the half-forward line. Kingsley Walker was the target. Tapua Manamiri's going to be hard to beat down there all day. And once again, the umpire is going to be called upon to ball it up right on the 50 at left half forward for Peel Thunder.
Well, he might be playing just loose at the moment, Brandon Hill, because of the onslaught early from South. Matthew Woolridge is Marty Atkins' direct opponent, and Brandon Hill's just setting himself in front of the contest.
Had a glimpse of the Peel box. That's going to be a place of some anxiety throughout the course of this afternoon. Peel doing well. This is McLean, who has a shot on goal, and he makes no mistake. Well, he got it from Clump. I think we may see that in replay, but certainly it was McLean, the man on your screen, who threw it onto his right boot, and he looked very, very efficient as he goaled there on that occasion. Another important one for Peel.
No, he didn't. It's good. That's the one we spoke about, 2 in a row very quickly. They just kept the ball alive. Just a fumble there from Gilmore, and it was number 38, Clump. You're right, Phil. Got the ball out to young Luke McLean, who's today playing his first game, 24-year-old from East Geelong. But and he's giving it to Matty Klukas, and here comes Marty just to let him know. But the man that kicked the goal's got all the smiles at the moment.
It's Marty Atkins there, the custodian. A bit of a Matty Klukas look-alike, but they're about a couple of sizes difference there.
And a fraction in the age bracket too.
Just a bit. So McLean looks as though he's going to be a handy pick-up for Peel Thunder. That was Asprey we saw leaping against Hay. The ball swatted out of mid-air by Bootsma. Still a lot of players around. It's a hard position to get at the moment. Number 12 for South Fremantle is Kieran Ugal. The whistle's gone. And the umpire, I think, will ball it up, or has he picked a free kick out?
There's a bit going on off the ball between Matthew Klukas and the last goal kicker, Luke McLean, who's his direct opponent. So that's a win for McLean at the moment, with the score on the board being a goal.
Bit of a difference in the amount of hair as well between the two as Hill goes back. Got it away there to Bolton, who's had it a few times but hasn't really used it too well. This is a different kettle of fish. He does well to Edgecombe. from just backward of centre. Edgecombe again, straight down the middle of the ground. That was a good lead on down there from, is it Walker? No, it's Kirkham, I beg your pardon. Kirkham, well, he's well outside 50, a kick and a half from home. The lead on from Sinister, good spoil there by Tinsley. Socket off the ground well by Jones. Now's a chance for Peel. Well, Asprey overran it. Edgecombe in the thick of things again. His hand pass smothered. Bolton, oh, he met Bootsman very solidly. It was a good hip and shoulder. Chance now for Peel once again. The high kick, a hurried one from Klump out to the open spaces at right half forward, and running into that space first was Hutchison. Got a call from Klukas. That's the way it went, and Klukas, a beautiful foot pass, has gone down to Serjan. Serjan and Jones, two youngsters playing on the centre line for South Fremantle this afternoon. Atkins, the target, had a few to beat and socketed off the ground rather, I should say, in a diving mark taken by Hay. So Adam Hay in the middle of the ground, goes straight down to centre half forward. In fact, it cleared that area. Here's a chance now once again for Parsons. They make way for him. Gives it off to Jones. Smothered beautifully off the boot by Welsh. Tried to soccer the ball out of midair. Goes in after it again. He's got to be careful to make sure that he makes every effort to get rid of it. Did he do enough? No, he didn't, said the umpire. Well, the danger was always there, Doro.
It certainly is. You just got to clear that zone.
So, free kick. The South Fremantle put up very, very high into the teeth of the breeze, but reading it beautifully down there was Mott. Well, he was the biggest man in that contest. The ball just started to hold up in the breeze. He got to the front of the pack, and in the end, it was an easy mark.
It sure was, and it's always going to be a very difficult task for his direct opponent. Him and Adam Hay, when they ruck and have a rest, they go down to the forward pocket just to create a real problem for that smallish Peel defensive group.
I saw him miss a goal here when playing for Sydney once, but he makes no mistake about this one, Ricky Mott, straight through the middle, and that'll be a confidence booster for the big man. He is going to be a very handy re-inclusion in the South Fremantle lineup.
Oh, there's no doubt about that, and you know, who knows the circumstances, Phil, that were really behind why he was delisted, but you'll see here, big strong man, had a good run at the footy, had a couple of grabs. That big right paw was up there just to control it, and he brought it down. But you're right, that's that kick that he had last year up at Stadium Australia. Could have put Sydney in front. I remember Rodney, he couldn't even watch the kick. So there you go. It's we've all missed those ones, I think, at some time.
So Ricky Mott gets one for South Fremantle. Scoreline, there it is, 4-1 to 2-1. So it's South by a couple. Byrne was in there, beaten to it by Farmer, but in the end both were beaten for possession by Hildebrand, who was immediately wrapped up in a tackle and a little bit more.
Well, it was good that South got that goal, because for the last 6 or 7 minutes with Peel kicking those 2 goals, I just sensed that South Fremantle had taken their foot off the accelerator, relaxed a little bit, and allowed Peel back into the contest.
Hay almost on the way down, got a hand to that one. Asprey puts his head down. Did he come up with the footy? The whistle's gone. It's going to be a free kick, and I think it's going to be a Peel free kick. It is.
No, it's gone the other way. It is a South one. It's going to Kieran Ugle by the look of it in the middle of the ground.
Well, I didn't see what it was for, but Ugle with it. Danger player always for South Fremantle. Goes out wide, and again Thornton showing that propensity to run off his opponent down forward. Goes with a long kick, a pretty good kick too, into the breeze. Breeze playing across the ground here at Fremantle Oval, so coming in from that outer wing, anything towards this side of the ground is into it. Jones had it, got the hand pass out to Bottrell. Haven't seen him just yet. This one goes very, very high. Don't know if it was touched off the boot or not. We'll never know. Mott came down with the footy, but it was no clean mark in any case. Ugle was in there again. Number 11 is Josh Parsons. Got it out to Broughton. Claimed beautifully by Klukas. No, too high.
Just a bit overzealous, Brad, in that tackle. He was just a little bit over the shoulder in that first initial contact.
I called Klukas, it was Bootsman. Well, Shawcross nearly too casual. Was taken, though, by Hardy. Had plenty of time in the end to go with a clearing kick toward the middle of the ground. Klump was in there. Number 28 is Gilmore for South Fremantle. Got an awkward bounce. This is McLean again. It was almost a throw. Hildebrand using his body. No one getting clean possession out there. It's pretty tough footy. The ball hand passed out. Here's Thornton once more. He gets back up support from Tapua Mantameri. Now, Tapua Mantameri running straight at goal through the middle of the ground. Goes up towards centre half forward. That was a poor kick. I think Parsons the target, but Shawcross just backed into that space and filled it up, took the mark, and that'll be a free kick to Hardy.
Yeah, so it sure was. Just high by Marty Atkins there. The ball's just not quite carrying into the forward line. They're trying to kick it a bit too far, but the breeze is just holding it up.
This is Farmer on the end of Hardy's kick, and I've been impressed with Hardy on the few occasions that I've seen him. Farmer bringing the ball into the corridor. Up went Simister, just couldn't make it stick. Hildebrand was there as well. From his knees, a hand pass. out of the fray, but almost straight back into it. Here's Broughton now, swings it across his body. Derek Hall's there a chance. Can he control it? He can't. Goes in after it again with Tapua Manameri, scrapping for it out there. And it is very scrappy. Kirkham using some body again was Bootsma. Throwing it onto the boot, was blanking it off Bolton's boot. So now Asprey, he got the crumbs and gave them to Edgecombe, who's been promising. Up, high, wide and Hanson. The breeze takes it out toward the boundary line. And that's where the throw-in will take place, around about 35 metres from Peel's goal. So some sunshine and the fans enjoying what glimpses of the sun they're going to get this afternoon.
Yeah, they sure are. And there's the three field umpires, Luke Farmer, Gavin Statham and Stuart Parry in control of today's game.
And doing a very good job. Kirkham doing some ruck work, controlling it himself. The hand pass was ambitious. Now the clearing kick from Gilmore up towards centre wing. It was a tumbling kick. Asprey, we saw against Claremont a few weeks ago, was quite good. Shawcross directs the ball. Luckily, it finds its way to Edgecombe, who swings it back into the corridor very, very high. Not much on that kick, but Derek Hall does well to keep his eyes on it and take a strong, courageous mark. Gives it off to Shawcross. Always running. 20 possessions again last week. Drills it up toward full forward. Spoiling there was Hay. Knocked it into the path of McLean once again, though. He might have kicked his second. I think he has. Oh, what a great goal by Peel Thunder. And this player does look like a find. If he's playing on Matthew Clucas, it's Clucas who's got to tighten his game up because he's kicked two.
No, there's no doubt about that. He has the job on it, on Matthew Clucas. There's no doubt there's a bit of pushing and shoving going on. But you'll see here, Adam Hay punched the ball away and McLean was in the right spot. He read the defensive punch from Adam Hay and a beautiful snap over his left shoulder. And there they are, having a little bit of a chin wag, the two boys there. But right now, Luke McLean with 2 goals. He's just got to make sure that he does tighten up with a bit of blood on his right back of his bicep there.
Looked like Matty Clucas did have a bit of blood there. This is Byrne. Fossicking for it, beaten to it by Asprey. Hurried kick goes to that man that we were talking about in Matthew Clucas. Clucas across the ground to Puamanda Merry. It's exciting when he's in full flight. Directs it nicely out toward the wing, and the mark has been taken out there by, is it Gilmore? Yep. Gilmore it is. High kick from behind Parsons. He was about 4th in line. It comes down towards James Byrne. Hand pass to Hutchison. Touched off the boot. You heard the umpire call it. This is Adam Hay, smothered beautifully off the boot, but Bottrell was in the right place at the right time. Now Surgeon. He was collected by Edgecombe. Hutchison once again to get possession. Needs a little bit of support. Taken in a tackle, but it was really quite a frail tackle, and the miss kick goes to Hay. Well, he's just inside 50, floats it on its way. Mott's down there again. He's a danger man. So too Ugle at the front of the pack. Atkins, can he snap one? Marty had it smothered off his boot, and Peel lived to fight another day, and they worked well out there. I think it was Brandon Hill who got the hand pass away. Low kick. Edgecombe runs into trouble, but he's got support out there from Hardy. Gilmore keeps it in. Hardy does well. He got it back, got it off to Shawcross, the short pass. Well, that was too ambitious looking there for Derek Hall. He really needed to go longer.
He sure did. Look, Peel have done really well to get themselves back into the contest as we approach quarter time. Derek Hall on screen. The captain of Peel just directing traffic there. His direct opponent is Scott Thornton, who's had plenty of the ball in the first quarter.
Hay worked it down towards James Byrne. The hand pass was really nondescript, and once more the umpire will come in and sort out that mess with the ball up.
Phil, Hayden North for South Fremantle went off the oval before with a sore knee. Went straight down in the rooms, and we actually haven't seen him back yet, so bad news there.
It is, because he had a very promising start. North was giving them plenty of run through the midfield, particularly on that outer side of the ground. He might have been playing on that outer wing.
And Stephen Pears is all right now. He had a bit of a blood nose after that contact earlier, but he's right to go back on.
Yeah, we've got a close-up of that one, Spinner. Asprey and Hay again. Now, the two doing battle. The umpire sees a high tackle against Hay. I beg your pardon, yeah, over Hay's shoulder, so Hay will take the free kick. He wanted to get on with it prematurely, and, well, 50 metres. Did not see what that was for. It appears that it's been Edgecombe who's been penalised, and the umpire is going to bring Hay into a position around about 35 to 40 metres out from goal.
Yes, and a vital 50-metre penalty.
And then some.
Yeah, pretty close. Darren Bolton on screen. I don't know whether he had something to do with it. The cameraman may very well have that impression, but this is not an easy kick here. Adam Hay, big tall boy, he's just got to make sure once again, as like Parsons, head down over the ball, kick it hard and flat for that right goalpost.
Originally from East Perth, had a couple of years on the Kangaroos list in the AFL. Hay makes no mistake about it. He got that down onto his boot very, very well indeed. So South Fremantle get another one. And they just seem to have all of the answers at the moment. They lead by 2 goals, and the first quarter just starting to tick away. Wouldn't feel like another one before the siren.
They sure would, Phil, because it would probably just, I suppose, stop them in their tracks a little bit, because they had battled themselves back onto, I would have categorised it nearly even terms with South at quarter time, but now that they go 2 goals behind, the man on screen has been a very valuable acquisition this year, now that he's nice and strong and fit, and South probably have the best duet, I suppose, in regards to ruckman in the WAFL competition.
When you consider that John Northey's electing to rest Mott down in the forward pocket, where he becomes a very dangerous commodity. This is Bolton. As I mentioned, last year's best and fairest for Peel Thunder. Beautiful delivery up toward Walker, former Swan Districts player. So Kingsley Walker, a couple of kicks from home. Peel desperately need a goal here. Punching from behind was Tinsley, but collecting it there was Farmer. Went for a short pass. I think it didn't come off. Gold took it on his chest. It nearly shocked him, I think. Shares it now with Bootsma, and away goes South Fremantle, relieving the pressure after what was a promising build-up for Peel Thunder, and they'll see that as a wasted opportunity. Still with an opportunity, though. Hildebrand along the boundary line, very, very close to it. Well, it stayed in. Almost, I think the players have given up on it. They're just waiting for it to go over, and the umpire will now throw it back into play. 25.5 minutes gone in the term, and this will probably be the last roll of the dice as far as Peel Thunder is concerned. Hay, the ball came down to Bootsma, who's been important. Got a lot of kicks when the going's been really tough. Broughton got it out there too. I think Edgecombe once more. High kick in towards the centre of the ground. Hardy, Brandon Hill thumps it forward for Peel Thunder once again, but Hayes in the way. Hand pass to Tapu Amanda Mary, and they may have just weathered the storm one more time, and that might be enough for South Fremantle as Tapu Amanda Mary goes out very, very wide. He had Gilmore out there. The breeze carried that. It was a clever kick by Tapu Amanda Mary because he weighted it beautifully.
Yeah, he just got it out of the danger zone, and there's the South Fremantle coach on screen, John Northey. Peter Christie there to the left of him for us on the screen, one of the match committee members. And a couple of the other boys chomping their fingers. Nervous anticipation, as football does bring to us all.
Ball worked down to the front of the pack by Hay. Thornton had it, then lost it. Hildebrand, the youngster's done well. Gives it off to Hall. They need to thump it up forward and create something here. Broughton went in towards centre half forward. Simister was the target. Chance now for Walker. Got a hand pass away, then got his own hand pass again. This could be it for Peel. He needs to put it onto his boot. He needs to score, and he may do. Well, he won't do. The ball fell short, just drifted across the face of goal, and Bootsma read it beautifully. Now he finds a teammate, Hay. The overlap comes from Gilmore. We've caught him on a number of occasions in this quarter. Goes up towards the wing. The crumbs are there for Bolton. Well, perhaps Peel will get another chance. This one doesn't spin in the orthodox fashion. And again, it was read beautifully in flight by that man, Tapu Amanda Mary, who's had a great quarter.
He sure has. And you can see they're just holding off with the left hand, and he took a nice, comfortable chest mark. He's been quite dynamic in the first quarter with his terrific run out of the back half.
Yeah, he got it off to Thornton, then Tinsley. The kick was a little bit casually approached there by Gold. And now, oh, Sinister had a golden opportunity to slam through a late major for Peel. We talked about opportunities. That was as good as they're going to get, and Simister only with the minor score.
Well, I think it was good defensive pressure too from South Fremantle there, because the person, I couldn't pick up who it was, but he really rushed Simister when he was coming in there, and that forced Scott to kick his ball a lot quicker and release it earlier than he wanted to, and by doing that he just forced him to hook it to the left.
Tinsley clears the ball from the goal square and goes out very wide, finding Gilmore again. They need someone to tighten up a bit on him. Short pass, and it's been taken by Hay.
He's been very good, hasn't he? Just in the time that he's rucked Adam Hay, very smart player.
He's come on and shouldered the responsibility magnificently. Goes out wide looking there for Marty Atkins, who controls it just inside the boundary line. Bottrell, a couple of real veterans there for South Fremantle. Bottrell's hand pass. Well, set a hard task there for his teammate and Serjan, who did very, very well, the youngster. Got it off to Atkins down the line. It'll sit up nicely for Byrne, I think. No, it didn't, as I called it. I realised the mistake, because it's perhaps a little bit soft out there in the grass, quite lush, and Byrne in the end was under a lot of pressure.
A terrific game last week. Marty Atkins, 5 goals, 1 from centre half forward, and his compadre down there in the forward line, Zane Parsons, kick 6.
There's 11 between them. Combining well again this afternoon, as well as the siren goes for quarter time. Marty Atkins having the last possession. South Fremantle have done it pretty well on the scoreboard. Peel Thunder are still with them though. 5 goals, 1, 31 for South Fremantle. Peel 3-2, 20. The margin just 11 points. And there's Brad Bootsman, John, who's been one of the real danger men in that first quarter.
Peel inside 50 a few times there, but just couldn't register on the scoreboard.
No, mate, it's probably been one of our faults over the previous games. We've just got to capitalise on more scoring opportunities when we do go in there. And look, I thought the boys after the initial start worked really well and started to put a bit of pressure on.
Are you worried about South Fremantle's talls?
Oh, look, obviously, you know, we were maybe predicting a little bit wetter and went for. We haven't got pairs in, but they have got some great tall fellas. We've just got to make sure we contest and bring the ball to the ground.
Thanks, John. John Northey wants his players to get to the bottom of Ricky Mott, and he reckons there's a feast of goals there for them.
Thanks, Rod. Second quarter is underway here at Fremantle Oval as Hardy gets up and returns the ball to the umpire. There's Stephen Pearce.
Sorry, Phil, there's only going to be a feast of goals for him, Spinner, if the big fella Ricky Mott drops him.
So there's some ruck work effectively done by Ugle as he fisted it forward. Bolton gets back from the defensive 50-metre line. He hand passes to Hill, who went back toward Bolton, but it wasn't a very good hand pass. Bolton on his knees, Bootsman providing the opposition. Atkins trying to work the ball forward with his boots, given support now. Came from Gilmore. Good tackle applied on Hutchison out there by Broughton. Players scrambling for it. The umpire let it go for as long as he could, but he will sort those two out. I think Hutchison and Wooldridge.
Good work by Peel then. They were terrific. They just kept on attacking the guy, went for his hips with the footy. South Fremantle kept on trying to dish it off and keep it alive. Maybe a quick kick out of that area would have kept it moving their way.
Hardy has been very good for Peel. Now, he needed to keep that ball in play because he had Stephen Pearce out there about 20 metres on his own. Unfortunately, he couldn't direct the ball well enough.
No, unfortunately, and Pearce, he's been a good player for Peel. This is his third WAFL club. He started off with Perth and he went to South Fremantle, was a premiership ruckman there in 1997, and then he's ended up down at Peel in the twilight of his career.
Playing against Ricky Mott, who won that one. Stephen Pearce playing his 209th game this afternoon. Hutchison got through traffic rather easily and got the hand pass away. South Fremantle chipping it up high. Down on centre wing, Brandon Hill again, very desperate from his knees. Got it to Bolton, who ran into a lot of trouble in the shape there of a tackle from young Jones. And the umpire said it was held to him.
Ran into a wall of red and white, then Darren Bolton, bang, straight into him. He didn't have nowhere to go. Good decision by the umpire. Didn't have any earlier opportunity to release the football. And that young man, Clint Jones, is playing on his 5th game of footy, another local guy from South Coogee.
Yeah, just 19, certainly has made his mark here this afternoon. He's back in after it again, got his left boot to it as well. Good perseverance. Came off the shins there of Farmer, who does well. In fact, it was Edgecombe once again. He grubbed the ball through the middle of the ground. Not a bad option. Kingsley Walker led his man to the footy. Walker goes with a short pass, and that was good play to Broughton. Broughton, very low, poor kick. It was meant for Hildebrand, but Gilmore, he doesn't need help finding the footy. He's got plenty of it this afternoon. So too this man, Tapua Mantamiri, through the middle once again. He gives South Fremantle a lot of bite. This one too high for Bootsma. Taken there by McLean. A slinging hand pass back toward the middle of the ground. Ugle beaten to it by Bolton. Again, he can't just find the handle. Goes to his knees and shovels the ball forward. Hildebrand went through the pack, and once again, it's scrambly football. And number 22 there for South Fremantle was Graham, and that's Walker last up off the pack. South Fremantle supporters waving the flags in anticipation of a victory here this afternoon, but Peel are not going to give it to them on a platter.
No, I don't think they're going to lie down, Peel. The game's just slowed down a little bit, and that's to Peel's credit because they're playing South on their terms rather than South controlling the game.
Mott again wins it, but Broughton was the first to get his hands on it, but again, it's not clean.
So just freeing up and not allowing South Fremantle, particularly say in this early bit there around these stationary and stoppages, they're just playing a lot more attention man on man, not letting South get easy access and take the ball away from these sort of scenarios freely.
Mott down to Boone, then he coughs it up and gave it to Hildebrand. That wasn't intended. Boone again going in to try and redeem his mistake, smothered off his hands by Pearce. Now he's got to be careful to make sure he tries to move it on, the umpire giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Phil, Hayden North come back up on the boundary before. He did a bit of a run around the boundary. His knee's not any good, so they've taken him down the rooms and won't see him today.
Well, that certainly is bad news for young North. As Pearce and Mott again go at it. Bootsma got over the top of his opponent almost illegally. Ugle was taken without it. There's no doubt about that. So Ugle will take the free kick. Kieran Ugle looking for options. Just not a lot of movement right at the moment. Now he spots something. It comes from Parsons. He runs to the 50-metre, but takes he and his opponent underneath it. So, in fact, it was Adam Hay there who took his opponent in Josh Parsons to it. So I wasn't quite incorrect. It was Josh Parsons, but he's a Peel Thunder player. couple of them down there at the moment. Parsons and Parsons. This is Edgecombe. He goes with a short pass, looking there for Welsh. Oh, he's beaten to it beautifully now. This is Zane Parsons, got nowhere to go. Welsh, well, he chops him off pretty well, but then Parsons uses the option of conceding a bit of ground. Finds Hutchison, he goes across the ground, and now they're back in the corridor at centre-half forward with Matthew Clucas. So some good sharing of the football there by South Fremantle. They certainly have conceded some meterage, but they still retain possession. Clucas, again, taking the short option, and no one on Ricky Mott. That was lax defensive work by Peel Thunder. You should never assume, Doro, that they're not going to go to a man.
No, well, they sort of were blocking off. It was interesting. There was a line of 4, probably 5 to 10 metres behind where Ricky's actually taken this mark to block out the Parsons and the Adam Hay lead. That would have been a 30, 35 metre kick from Matty Clucas. The little 15 to 20 metre one got onto their guard. And Ricky Mott here, not an overly long kick, but he shouldn't have too much trouble making the distance, one wouldn't have thought.
Again, the breeze across him. That was Parsons on the lead. Well, Mott, he certainly has got a piece of this, but the breeze has just drifted it to the right-hand side. Distance wasn't a problem. And Ricky Mott just brings up the minor score.
Now, that breeze is still extremely strong. The windsock over there on above the scoreboard is really blowing straight blustery across the ground. So it's not really favouring, but probably favouring to the left of screen. There's the windsock.
It's almost blowing up.
Yeah, that's right.
Shawcross went for a short one and found a teammate there in Wildridge. Again, options drying up for Peel. And he just kicks to a pack. Plenty of them down there too, and in front and serving him very well there was Walker. Strong mark by Walker, gets an option in the middle of the ground. This is Edgecombe, who's been very, very good indeed. Long hand pass forward of the play. Chance now for a Peel Thunder. High kick came from Clump. The Breeze has got this one. It wasn't very good execution at all. The ball drifts into the pocket, and that was a wasted opportunity. You really need to kick the ball out into the right full forward pocket.
Yeah, they certainly have to bring it out in front of the South Fremantle Footy Club members in front of the Fremantle as Stephen Pears comes off for another rest, and young Rowan Ashbury to replace him back again as the on-ball ruckman.
He's a long way from this contest as Mott, almost unopposed, wins it down to the front of the pack. Goes in after it again.
Oh, nearly high.
Clucas was there, hailing a cab. Tapua Mary was dispossessed. Hardy, number 8 for Peel, was in there momentarily. A lot of players still around there in their quest for possession. And I think that was Byrne burrowing in once again. The whistle has gone.
It's a tough job down there for Scotty Simister. He doesn't get too many balls on his chest. He's got to work and wrestle for all of them. And I don't know if you noticed, but he just looked up at the player that kicked that last footy to him.
Oh, we noticed, Spinner. Yes, it certainly was poor delivery. There's no doubt about that. The umpire just ordering players to settle down there. Brandon Hill does well. He was taken in a flying tackle. Then Hardy, I think, was taken without possession at all. So the umpire right on the scene at the moment. And this young man, Brian Hardy, certainly has given Peel some great service through the middle of the ground.
Sure has, and he's been very lively today. And Ricky Mott went right through with the tackle. There you can see 19 years of age from Boddington. Which is 2.5 hours south-west of Perth, I would call it. Boddington out that way.
Thanks for the geography lesson.
Well, I'm trying to think. I know Boddington on the way through, but Ricky Mott's over. Zealous tackle. He just held on a bit too long, and young Hardy didn't really have control of the footy. Won't be an easy kick here. Very tough to get it through there from this zone, but let's hope for Peel's sake he can slot it through.
Well, it would narrow the margin to just 2 goals. Now, Hardy plays it cleverly. He kicked it very, very low. That was never more than half goalpost high from the time it left his boot, and it was on the way down when it went through, but that was a very heady kick.
Very intelligent, there's no doubt about that, and that bridges the gap. 6 points. South Fremantle are going to be very mindful here, and you'll see here Ricky Mott's tackle. There's no ball to be seen within young Hardy's grasp. And he just kept his head right down. You can see that. He stabbed it goalpost high, which was the right thing to do. You take all of the influence that the Breeze can have in that situation completely out of the contest. And here we are. South Fremantle get a free kick again in the middle of the ground through big Ricky Mott.
Yes, Mott just tumbles it forward, so that's broken Peel's momentum, but fortunately Wooldridge is in the way. He's taken the mark on his chest. Out very wide. Asprey, well, he was interfered with when he was going for the footy. Probably almost could have been paid the mark, but he was the only one who had eyes for the football. Asprey toward Hall, and Hall's done well on this occasion opposed to Thornton after probably lowering his colours in the first quarter. Hall called to play on. Kicks him inside 50 again. Tapua Mary. Doesn't he read the play beautifully? hardly seems to have an opponent to be playing on, but just gathers possessions, then goes across the ground. And, well, when you give someone a bit of a...
David Galt's lying behind the play there on screen as if he's been dealt with. We'll see what happens.
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, okay.
Interesting, Shepherd.
The ball comes down to Byrne again. He put it onto his right boot. That was rather careless, not the right option. Galt just, for the moment...
A bit dazed, we'll call it.
Hiding his lights. Getting some attention down there in the goal square. He's picking up Kirkham. The free kick, meanwhile, right in front of the South Fremantle members' reserve. It's going to be taken by Greg Edgecombe. Hasn't he been a good player? Edgecombe now kicking it up toward the goal square. Mott went back again, couldn't take the mark. Hand pass from Walker, came out initially to Farmer, then Simister, and Peel Thunder have levelled the scores. That's a great effort there. Walker, Simister, and now there's a bit of biffo on down in front of the goals, but there's the scoreline. That's the important thing. 5 goals, 2 apiece, and Scotty Simister has got his second.
Yeah, he certainly has, and he was at the right spot at the right time, because I thought you watch here on replay, there we are, there he got hold of it. Prior to that, there was a ball that did come in, and he jumped up very early, missed the contest completely, and then the final wash-up, he was on there, got a quick handball. Very intelligent snap there. He's kicked there 2 goals. Sean Tinsley on screen. Hasn't done a lot wrong, but 2 goals, and David Galt was removed from the ground after that knock previously.
So Mott again doing the ruck work. Clucas in there, but his opposite number 3, Hildebrandt, did pretty well. Clean possession's hard to get. Hildebrandt had it momentarily only. Hutchison got it to Ugle. Now Ugle with a tumbling kick. Fisted away by Brandon Hill, so back into the scrimmage. Plump may have been held without it. Edgecombe certainly was held, but had the ball held to him. And another ball up. Well, there's plenty of feeling out there. Peel Thunder really rising to the occasion as David Galt just getting his breath back and having a bit of a drink to settle himself down.
Well, it's good for Peel too, for their confidence. John Ditchburn would have asked for them to really attack the man and the ball at the same time in this second quarter, and they've done that to a T to this point of the quarter.
And Galt can testify to that. Byrne, Thornton, the hand pass out wide to the call of Bootsman. It sits up nicely for him. Another hand pass. This man's just come onto the ground. I think that is young Adams, Theo Adams' kick. Hurriedly down towards centre wing. Driving kick there from Jones. Here's a chance now for Ugle. Steadies it, and under pressure, beautiful delivery with the left boot. Made the comment at quarter time that South Fremantle's use of it has just been a little bit better. Those Peels has picked up right into the path of Zane Parsons. Good lead, good kick.
Oh, it sure was, and very skillful young Kieran Ugle. And we mentioned up the other end of the ground, the opposite full forward, Scotty Simister, would love delivery like what was given to Zane Parsons there. The Bernie Naylor medalist from season 2002, shooting for his second goal of the afternoon.
Yes. A season tally of 11. Parsons comes in. That's a great shot of it. Does not deviate. Just a slight drift with the bruise, but Zane Parsons, very, very good. That's his bread and butter from in front, about 30 metres out like that. He doesn't make too many mistakes. Yeah,
pretty good result for the Bulldogs, because Peel had kicked 3 goals, or 2 goals to none so far. You'll see Ugle on screen there. Very, very deft skills at ground level. Lovely left foot. Just put it into the pass, which allowed Parsons to jump up at full stretch. And right behind the kick there, almost right in the middle of the ground, just pushed to the right on the way through as it travelled through the posts.
So back in the middle of the ground, Hay leaping a little early, but still got his hand to it. Hurried kick out of the middle there. Waldridge from behind, missed with the punch. Bottrell with the run of it. Shawcross got his body in the way, which was good football. Brandon Hill tenaciously, but eventually he's relieved of it by Ugle. Shares it now with Atkins, who's inside 50. Can Marty kick another goal? He can't. This one drifts away, minor score only, but South Fremantle seem to have just regained a bit of their composure.
Yeah, he's been very competitive, Marty, giving him a very strong target at centre-half forward. Waldridge has done a pretty good job on him. Marty certainly hasn't had the influence of the first couple of games that he has had against Perth and also East Fremantle in the first 2 rounds.
Shawcross favours the outer side of the ground, kicks it to a one-on-one. Ashbury, half a kick, bounces up nicely there for Gilmore, who's had a lot of it. Just toe pokes it across his body. Edgecombe was there, came off his body, going in courageously. There was Ugle, and the umpire, well, he's doing the right thing. Ugle had eyes for the footy, put his body on the line, was taken high, and will get the free kick. Ugle unscathed. Short pass on this occasion, right up to the standard of his last one. Intercepting there was Waldridge. Got it away there, I think, to Farmer, a leading kick in toward the middle of the ground. In fact, it was Bolton who kicked to the middle of the ground, but the mark's been taken by Bootsma. favours the outer side of the ground. Ugle. This time the disposal is good. Goes on toward Jones. He's running forward of the play. Undecided. Eventually got the hand pass away. High kick from Gilmore in towards the corridor, but there was no one home for South Fremantle. And Shawcross, unopposed, goes looking there for Derek Hall. There was plenty coming from behind him. He did well. Hall now sets it up for Peel Thunder. Broughton hand passes up into the path there of Clump. He goes with a long kick again, probably to the wrong pocket. Simister in spectacular fashion over the top of the pack. The whistle has gone. The umpire will ball it up.
Geez, you nearly marked that, Scotty Simister.
Yeah.
And Kingsley Hutchison's come off for South. Ray Smithers. Have a look at this. He's just dropped it, but he made it very difficult for himself, Scott. He actually led away from the ball kicker, made it a very difficult kick for the guy to kick it in his area rather than actually coming over here to the fat side to make it a bit easier.
Scrimmage again. Well, Simister got it there to Bolton from number 2 to number 1, and the umpire will ball it up once more. So Darren Bolton certainly is thereabouts. He first came back from suspension. He was suspended from the last game in 2002 and missed the first 2 games of this season. Certainly Peel welcoming him back. This is Smithers. Got it out to Jones. Quite impressive, the young man. The kick not terribly tidy. Picked up by Bottrell. Smithers into the action straight away. Ugle picked up on the half volley. The ball rather casual, but it's taken again by Jones. This time the left footer, and he really puts something into this one. Gets them up towards the right half forward flank. Peel going back with the flight of the ball. It was McLean. Got it to Shawcross. Goes to ground from his knees. Edgecombe found it a difficult one to pick up, and Marty Atkins again really setting the captain's example. Put him under a lot of pressure and forced the ball over the line.
We've been lucky to date. There hasn't been any great sign of rain. The clouds are still menacing behind us, but it'd be terrific if we could get through this and the second half of football without rain.
250 games up next week for Marty Atkins. Bottrell with a hurried kick, but it's all Peel Thunder there. Wooldridge with a needless hand pass to Shawcross across his body. McLean. This is Hildebrandt now, who's got some room. He can run and bounce the ball. A couple outside the defensive 50. Goes with a real floater up towards centre wing, but it was out in front of Kirkham, and that was the important thing. Oh, gee, there's a bit happening off screen there. Walker and Graham, short pass from Kirkham, and, well, there was a high tackle against Bootsman there, so Broughton with a free kick. This game getting a little ugly. Broughton with a short pass, and Peel Thunder have taken a mark in front of goals, and it will be Clump, I think, who's taken the mark. It is Clump. Now, his last 2 disposals looking there for Scott Simister haven't been good. Now he's got a chance to kick on goal himself.
He's actually done a couple of nice things. He's certainly very competitive. It's a pretty important kick for him right now.
Certainly needs to start this well to the right. And gives it some elevation, but allows enough, does he? He does. Clump has got an important one for Peel Thunder, so a good match here on at Fremantle Oval. Peel Thunder are really serving it up to South Fremantle, especially in the physical stakes in this second quarter.
They are, and they've been extremely good at what they've done here. They've used the ball well. There's a bit going on. South Fremantle have just been a bit overzealous in their attack on the football, and they've just taken their eye off the contest, and Peel have been the recipient of a few good free kicks, but just snuck it in at the end there. So a good result for Peel that gets them back on almost even terms, 1 point behind now.
So an important centre clearance, this one. Hay had the run at it. Eventually it comes out towards Jones, who's been impressive. Gave it to Bootsma. Long kick from Bootsma, one of the real trademarks of that player over a long career. Wooldridge almost in the best position to take the mark, but couldn't make it stick.
Just on that though, Phil, a player like Bootsman, you'd think he'd kick it to the other side of the oval or in the middle rather than the dead pocket. He's got more experience in that.
Yeah, well, there seems to have been the tendency for most players, Rod, to go out that side of the ground. Marty Atkins tried to tap it to the offensive side of that centre throw-in. Couldn't find a teammate. Now there's a chance for Bottrell. Gets the hand pass. Jones again onto his left boot, goes up towards full forward, but that wasn't a very well-directed pass, and Wooldridge has taken the mark. Goes to Shawcross. Goes every which way and then back out to the members' side of the ground. Welsh up towards centre wing. Well, the breeze should have taken the ball the other way. That was rather peculiar that it seemed to drift into the breeze and it's gone out of bounds on the full. Mott will take the free kick.
Well, it gives them another chance. South, when they looked like they were gone for a couple of minutes.
Mott sends it up from whence it came. Well, Wooldridge could have gone the mark. He decided to punch the ball away. It goes to Smithers. Asprey over the top. Oldfield's on the ground in more ways than one. McLean back towards Shawcross. Goes short again. Sometimes those short passes into the corridor can come unstuck. Still the ball in dispute. Smithers has been busy since coming off the ground. It was just taken out of his grasp. Again, the ball fisted forward by McLean. It's not pretty by Peel Thunder, but pretty effective as Hildebrandt's the player who can give them some real burst. He's got pace. The hand pass not great, but it sits up nicely for Hardy. Again, he goes to the lead of Broughton.
Simister.
I beg your pardon, Simister, who's taken the mark about 45 metres out from goal directly in front, but this may test him.
Well, you know, if we go back to the young man, I'm trying to work out who he was, young Brian Hardy,
yes,
who kicked that low flat one, Phil, earlier in the second quarter. Scotty Simister, very, very strong kick. So if he gets right, if he hits it right, he's a very, very good chance of getting this through.
Gives it probably a bit more elevation than he would have liked. The breeze does its work. Into the pocket it drifts, and South Fremantle well served down there by young Jamie Graham, who's taken a strong mark.
And a couple of free out this side, Tipper and Sean Tinsley, all on their own, 20 metres in the clear, which is inexcusable.
Yes, well, he heard you. Tinsley chips it up for Scotty Thornton. Well, that was a difficult one to take. Coming through solidly there was Hildebrandt. Now, he's played very well, goes into the pocket, good lead, and, well, they've listened to Rod Willett as well. They've started to bring the ball out to this side, and Simister is a clever kick. He won't be worried by the distance here. He's going to certainly have to direct the ball and try and keep it a bit lower than he did a moment ago.
Very sloppy by South Fremantle, trying to bring it out. They had 2-on-1, Tinsley and Tipper Mantameri.
Well, the kick from Tinsley was very poor.
Yeah, well, it made Thornton go at his feet with that.
Oh, Simister has done beautifully. He's a clever player. Scott Simister has now got his third goal, 2 in this second quarter. And Peel Thunder, Doro, well, who would have thought of it? I don't think any of us tipped them in our tipping competitions, but they've now hit the front.
They sure have. And if as I look into the footy budget, I can tell you one bloke that didn't. Rod Willett, he's down boundary side, and he didn't actually pick Peel today, but they're in front, Spinner.
No, but there's a long way to go yet, John. But again, as Phil said, they're starting to come out. They're starting to look for Simister. They're starting to pass to him. But South Fremantle are getting caught into the trap, which a lot of sides do with the wind when they try and just bomb it too long and don't look for a player.
And certainly Peel Thunder taking no backward steps. They're exerting a physical presence out there. Oldfield's probably been brought on for that very reason. Asprey there trying to wrestle the ball away from Byrne, but the umpire says, no, look, that's a draw. Give it to me.
You just need, in these sort of conditions, people around congested and contests like this. You need people, stronger body, stronger mind, that are prepared to keep their head over the football, because the ball is going to be on the ground more often than not.
If anything, that wind's strengthening. Number 8 there is young Jones for South Fremantle. Couldn't burst away with it. Again, Burns in there. Haven't we seen Burns a lot at the bottom of packs? He gets it a lot, but then finds it very difficult to break away.
Yeah, well, it is. It's very scrambly down there, and there's a bit going on. Bolton on screen there with James Byrne.
Yeah, well, Bolton is one who doesn't take a backward step, sometimes to his own detriment.
Yeah, there's a bit of verbalising going on there. It's good for the game. We can't hear it, but it's good fun if you're out there.
Adam Hay was up. Got a fingertip to it, but this is Edgecombe now who bursts away with it. He's given Peel a lot of drive. That was a courageous effort there by Gilmore, but he couldn't take the mark. Clump got it out to Bolton once again. The kick just ahead of the tackle. Good work by Tapua Mantameri to bring the ball to the ground, and now he follows up his own crumbs. The hand pass, well, it was meant, I think, for Smithers, but going in there was Broughton. Ran into a tackle once and then twice. Bolton was dispossessed. Smithers still in there. The whistle's gone high. Well, it's going to be a Peel free kick. I think it's going to be Hildebrandt.
Yep, sure is. And I thought it might have been against Brad Bootsma. I'm not sure. No, yeah, it was Brad Bootsma. Came in pretty ferociously, really. It wasn't called for because Hildebrandt didn't have control of the footy.
Just 18 years of age. Played in the National 18 Carnival last year. Keeps it low, but not a good kick and not a good effort down on the goal line, because you really do need to have someone to get back there and contest. And on this occasion, Adam Hay just took the ball uncontested. Goes out wide, no mark taken there. At the back of the pack, it's Walker. Hand pass to Bolton, who's getting plenty of kicks. All along the boundary line, as it drifted over, it hasn't. Hardy, I think, has taken the mark, and a good one too, because he kept his eyes on the footy, knew there was plenty coming. And this young man has played a very, very good game indeed. There it is in replay. And, well, there wasn't much to the push from Kieran Ugle. The angle virtually impossible. He's hard up against the boundary line, almost on the fence, and of course the breeze strengthening and blowing right into his face. There's the kick, and you can see the breeze grabs it.
Jeez, it wasn't that far away.
Yeah, he kept it low. He's done that a couple of occasions, and South Fremantle got there just in time and forced the behind.
They were pretty poor before South when Adam Hay had that mark where he took that mark on the goal line. He went away to that dead side of the ground, but he failed to look over here in front of the South Fremantle members. He had two of his teammates 25 metres in the clear, and all he had to do was chip it out here, and they would have been able to carry the ball down in front of us, but unfortunately it didn't happen.
Tinsley electing to create some space between the ball and Peel's goal. Does that effectively, and he's well served out there by Jamie Graham. He's taken a good mark in that pack. Almost up on centre wing, so Tinsley got a lot of distance with that kick. 25 minutes have just ticked over in this second quarter. Peel Thunder leading by a goal, 7-3 to 6-3 as the kick from South Fremantle goes down towards half forward, and again the players persisting down that outer side of the ground.
John, the other bloke that won't be real happy about the score will be John Northey. I think Peel have actually scored more into the wind than South have with it.
Yeah, they have. They've had a pretty good quarter, Rod. They've kicked 4 goals, 1, and South Fremantle have only kicked 1 goal here in the second quarter. And look, you know, their performance, South, has been disappointing. You know, for a side aspiring to finish up in the top 2 or 3, looking to win a premiership, you can't lower your guard against somebody that you should beat.
So one gets the feel that rain is not far away here at Fremantle Oval. Again, Byrne taken in the tackle. The umpire said it was held to him, but I wouldn't mind $1 for every time that Byrne's been the last player up with the footy, handing it back to the umpire. In fact, now he's going to get a free kick. So you must, after every 20 times, you get a free. Goes into the middle of the ground and finds Gilmore. Rain starting to fall here at Fremantle Oval. The Gilmore kick, well, it cleared plenty, and there was danger signs just as the siren goes. South Fremantle were going forward, but a good quarter by Peel Thunder. The umpires will consult, and there will be, I think, no score. So that is the half-time score here at Fremantle Oval. South Fremantle 6 goals, 3-39. Peel Thunder 7-3, 45. But what a very good quarter. A hard quarter of attrition-like football, but Peel Thunder taking the honours. Second half underway here at Fremantle Oval. Very important third quarter. South Fremantle leading, or bigger pardon, Peel leading by just 6 points. Ball's bounced and Ricky Mott runs at it. Got the ball down, but only as far as a Peel player there in Clump, who kicks the ball up toward the half-forward line. Peel immediately inside their 50-metre attacking zone. Tapua Mandamerry's socket effort was picked up by Kingsley Walker. He goes back into the corridor, and Simister, well, we talked about him just a short time ago. He's very important in the first half, and he's the player who could be the match winner for Peel Thunder.
What an outstanding mark there. Sean Tinsley didn't do nothing wrong as a defender there. He had his body in front, if anything. May have been able to push back to eliminate that jump that Scotty Simister did have that we saw a couple of seconds ago. But wonderful strong hands. What a terrific start this would be for Peel if he can go back now and stretch that gap to 12 points.
Well, it's been a low-scoring match. A 2-goal break would be very handy in the context of this match. The goal umpire just a couple of little steps to his left. Major for Peel Thunder. They've done exactly that. The first goal and a quick one on the board for Peel Thunder, and Scott Simister has now got 4.
Yes, and what a terrific start, and we'll see here the ball came in there. The young man Amado, like Tipper Mantameri, did have a chance there. He socketed it, but he didn't clear the zone, and the kick in from Walker was an outstanding one. You'll see Simister, what a great jump over the top of Tinsley. Really strong hands, and was good enough to go back there and register his 4th goal for the game. Not big stats, but he's had 6 shots on goals with those 7 things. And Scotty Thornton, as you'll see there on screen, has the switch has been made. Tinsley's gone out to centre-half back, and Scott Thornton down onto Simister to see if he can quell that goal scoring.
So John Northey not taking any risks. Simister getting the better of that duel with Tinsley. Up they go. Pear's got a hand to it. Mott, though, grabs it at ground level. The hand pass indiscriminate. Now a hurried kick by Peel Thunder up towards centre-half forward again. They're into attack. Kirkham got hands to it. The ball deflects away from Walker, but a great tackle. He ran his man down from behind and then pushed him in the back. Well, that was bad luck for Kingsley Walker. Got into the back of Jones. The youngster's kick, not a particularly good one. Ugle makes light of it. Gives it to Tapua Mantameri. Beautifully directed pass out toward Gilmore. Has really called that outer side of the ground his own this afternoon. Short pass again to Ugle. So South Fremantle just regaining their composure and retaining possession as they play the short game. And is that Hutchison out there? Getting a bit gloomy here at Fremantle Oval. In fact, it was Serjan. And Serjan has gone short. Again to Gilmore. Stylish left foot up. And South Fremantle just finding some some space just for the moment. This is Amato. Goes up toward full forward. Marty Atkins, well, he came out, got a break on his opponent. The ample chest was the target. Bounced off. I don't know if, in fact, he controlled it as well as he would have liked. Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, it's a clear mark, yeah. It was just forced out right at the end. But I think, Marty, they've just made a slight switch. Zane Parsons is, it appeared, temporarily come out to centre-half forward, and Marty's gone down onto the full forward line.
So Marty Atkins for the quick reply. Kicked 5 last week, keeps it low, but really squirts this one out to the right-hand side, so minor score only.
Could have been a sign of the times today with South Fremantle. Like, realistically, other than that first 10 minutes of the first quarter, when they were outstanding, they had 3 goals to zip on the board. They looked very clinical in what they did in that first period of the game, but were very poor since then.
Beautiful pass in by Shawcross. Finds his man in Edgecombe, who's been very, very good indeed this afternoon. Goes up towards centre wing. South Fremantle just have the numbers at the drop of the ball. Tinsley knocked it toward the boundary line. Now he follows it up, but like a good defender, disguises the ball over the line and out of bounds.
One of the good players for South Fremantle, Phil, who's not on the ground at the moment, is Matthew Klukas. I think he's got an ankle injury. Just running up and down. Rod might have a further update on his condition.
Mate, I thought that he might just be looking to change over his midfield.
Well, we'll wait and see what happens with that. Meanwhile, South Fremantle trying to force the ball forward. Hutchison got it from Gilmore. Now he gives it out towards Byrne. Hasn't had a lot of clean possession this afternoon. This is a good centering kick. Here's a chance now for South Fremantle. Galt leading the race to the footy. Shawcross dives with him, almost into the back there of Galt. Amato, close to the boundary line, plays it rather cleverly. A defensive hand pass to Ugle. Looking for a way forward now, South Fremantle. The Ugle kick goes into the pocket. No mark taken down there. Parsons flew very high. But now Peel can clear it. Well, can they? Bolton nearly makes a meal of it. Bounces it in the goal square. Well, gee, he played that very, very coolly indeed. Now with a cool kick, finds his captain in Derek Hall. Thought he might have just about messed it up there, Darren Bolton, but he knew what he was doing. So too Hall, as he finds Hardy in the centre-half back position. Now the corridor's pretty open for Peel Thunder. Can they make something work here? Kirkham got hands to it. Here's a chance for Jones, who was nearly caught holding the ball. To Amanda Merry, hand passed out wide. Now the players converge on it. Scrambly play there. Kingsley Hutchison gathered it. He was taken immediately in a tackle by that man there, McLean, who's kicked a couple of goals, and everyone keeping an ear on whatever action there is around Perth sporting venues this afternoon. Very tight contest here at this venue. Ricky Mott tries to hack the ball out of the air. Now's a chance for Graham. Just socket it forward. Out came Parsons. Now he goes to the ground, but South Fremantle have got the numbers there. Jones has been a very good youngster this afternoon. Hand passes up towards centre-half forward. Brandon Hill used good body. Now there seemed to be a tackle that lingered there. The umpire deliberated for quite some time before blowing the whistle, and the free kick eventually has gone the way of Brian Hardy.
Yeah, it certainly did, and unfortunately the man on screen there, young Daniel Gilmore, just held on to the tackle. As you can see again, it's unfortunate when you're the player tackling, you don't always see the ball dislodged, and you think you're doing the right perfect tackle there. Unfortunately, it was too long. Tommy Bottrell had one run on for South Fremantle, had a shot on goal, but it's come back, and Hardy's got it in his hands now.
He just waits it out nicely for Shawcross. Played the entire afternoon so far in defence and has done well. Directs this one up to the half-forward line. Gee, they needed more torque there. I think Pearce may have done a hamstring, or has he just twisted an ankle? He does some shepherding on the boundary line. Walker got the hand pass to McLean. From it, just a step, he goes up toward the half-forward line. A good spoiling effort from behind by Farmer. He was outnumbered and out-heighted, if there's such a word, and he did very well.
Out-heighted, a beauty there. Stephen Pearce on screen there, just hobbling around. It looks like he's going to come off the ground, and young Asprey is going to come back on. Not sure whether it is an ankle or a hamstring.
Let's hope it's not too serious for Peel and Stephen Pearce. Graham got a hand pass to Sir Jan from the defensive side of the centre square. He goes in toward the middle of the ground and finds Amato. He's been busy. He goes out wide, Corey Amato. And the backups come from the other side of the ground. Ugle shares it now with Amato. Might have just tried to overdo a bit too much there. Puts a check side kick onto it, into the pocket. Atkins is there. With him was Wooldridge. A good spoil from behind. Reading it nicely, though, Sir Jan, who went to the ground. Amato getting plenty of hand on the football. Bottrell gives it to Gilmore. Just popped it off there for a teammate in goal. Taken in the tackle again Peel Thunder are fierce with their tackling. Clump turns defence into attack, or does he? The kick went out wide. Jones got there first and taken high. Not for the first time this afternoon is James Byrne.
I think it might have been actually a soccering in danger free kick. Yeah, James Byrne had his hands down. Stephen Pears looks like a hamstring there to me. 50-metre penalty looks like it's been given against... I don't know whether it's Greg Edgecombe. Edgecombe's the man that's going to go and stand the mark, but James Byrne, 10 possessions, 25 years of age, but his hands were down in the act of picking up the ball when one of the Peel defenders tried to soccer it away. And,
John, the free kick is one thing, but the 50-metre penalty, I don't know, Rod Willett is a lot closer to it than we were, but yeah, kicking in danger on a day like this, it's got to be paid, of course, but 50 metres, you can ill afford that. As he comes in from point-blank range, Byrne has kicked his first goal of the afternoon in a low-scoring match. That is a mistake that Peel Thunder may rue, because it's a gimme goal to South Fremantle.
Well, it is, and what would have been a shot on goal that was probably unlikely to make the distance. 50 metres gets him up, you know, right into the goal square here, and you'll see James Byrne shortly, number 5 on your screen, coming straight out here with this contest. And the young man there cleared it, hands down, bang. You know, it wasn't a deliberate act or anything. It was just a boot there. Stephen Pears. I tell you what, Pearsy, they feel a lot sorer when you're 32 years of age and you get injured.
Yes, in a bit of pain down there. Stephen Pearce, Bolton trying to crash his way through. Clump gets his hands on it. Tumbles the ball up towards centre-half forward. Open spaces out there. Just two players running into that space, but doing well out there. The South Fremantle player in Adams clears the space, but now there's still the ball in dispute. There's a turnover here for Peel Thunder if they're good enough. Kirkham was dispossessed. Adams got a hand pass away to Ugle. Usually his disposal is first class, and on this occasion, no exception. Goes up towards Tinsley, who may have been sent from defence into attack. Oh, good mark taken there, running the same way as the football by Gilmore. Is a player of the future. He's been taken onto Fremantle's rookie list. Gilmore out towards the half-forward flank. Shawcross went to ground. He really needed to keep his feet because South Fremantle have got the numbers out there. Atkins into the path of Jones. Great spoil from behind by Hardy. What a duel that's been. Bottrell's hand pass, not a particularly good one. Galt gives it in towards Amato, who kicks on goal with the ball. Well, he was always off balance, and the ball was always going to be offline. It's gone over the line on the full.
Well, I bumped into Nathan Turvey. There's the general manager of South Fremantle, Brian Sikitosto, on screen. Jumped into Turvey at half-time. He's had 3 hamstring injuries in the last 8 weeks, Nathan Turvey, so just can't get himself right, keeps on re-injuring himself.
He was an outstanding player a few years ago for South before he was recruited by Hawthorn. Wouldn't he be handy back in this lineup?
Sure would be.
Derek Hall has got it off to Brian Hardy. Gee, I have liked his game. Hardy looking for Brandon Hill. Good pressure came from behind from Byrne. The ball in dispute. Edge can put a hand in. He really needed to put a bit more body in there. Oldfield scooped it up for Hildebrand. A throw, says the South Fremantle members. They had a pretty good view of it. High kick. Mott had it knocked out of his hands. Graham, the big man, has got some good coordination. Controlled that beautifully and got a penetrating kick in toward full forward. Punching work done down there by Parsons. Hall was taken in the tackle. Had it for a fair while. This is Josh Parsons, who bursts away from defence. Does well. Got a good shepherd from Oldfield. It was solid. Parsons kick out towards centre wing. Gilmore's there, just pushes Edcombe off it, and Gilmore gets another possession but wastes it. Very high, difficult one to take. Well, Hutchison didn't have a lot of the pressure, and in the end dropped the mark and got a lucky free kick.
He gave the free kick away, okay. Yeah, so he should have taken the mark, but in the end, Oldfield, I think it is, Phil's got the ball on the outer side. He chips her out to Derek Hall.
So the skipper goes short once more and finds Kingsley Walker on the outer side of the ground. Worked hard this afternoon. Just one of those players who keeps fighting and keeping the ball in his immediate area. This is Kirkham. Good sprawling effort. Nearly 12 minutes gone in this third quarter. There hasn't been a lot of scoring, just a goal apiece. But it's a critical quarter. Peel Thunder, should they be able to get the next one and then build some momentum? Who knows what the weather's going to do. The kick from Kirkham really wasted. And Ricky Mott has taken the mark. Hand pass to Sir Jan. One of a couple of young players from the South Coogee area. Taken by Shawcross. The Peel Thunder player was really put down there. Jones got it off now to Bottrell. Floats the ball up towards centre half forward. Leading the race to the footy there is Parsons. Zane Parsons, clever hand pass to Ugle. Eludes one would-be tackler. Now shoots on goal. Well, in the end, he wasn't under a lot of pressure. And normally you would see Kieran Ugle put that straight through. And some worrying signs for South Fremantle and their supporters know it.
Yeah, they certainly do. And young man on screen there, he's had a reasonable day. He's been pretty good. Got a bit of the football, but his evasive skills got him clear there, but unfortunately he probably could have carried the footy a little bit closer, so he would have given himself a greater chance to actually get the best result.
Short cross, beautiful foot pass to Brandon Hill. Hill really has attacked the ball hard for Peel this afternoon, and that's been one of the hallmarks of their success. Mott and Asprey do battle. No one can take the mark. This is Byrne again. Hand pass to Atkins. Atkins now to Ugle. Here's a set up there. Hutchison, the hand pass, but he was under a lot of pressure. Wooldridge got a hand to it. Hill tries to charge his way through. May have been held. No, says the umpire. Hardy and then Wooldridge once again. Bottrell won't get to it, I don't think, before the ball goes over. So it will be thrown back into play.
It looks like a lot of the South Fremantle players are getting very frustrated overusing the ball, and when Gilmore didn't kick that one properly, he had about 5 guys telling him what he should have done with it.
Certainly Daniel Gilmore's a better kick than that. Atkins. The ball flicked out for Ugle once again. Looks downfield, goes with a long kick. Parsons with a leaper from behind. Here's a chance now for South Fremantle, reading the ball beautifully off hands. There was Gilmore once more. He covers a lot of ground, but on this occasion just couldn't steer it through. Well, the pressure's starting to tell on John Northey. He said it to Glenn Mitchell at half-time that he expects to make the finals this year. Will be disappointed if he doesn't, and this is one that he would have counted on winning.
Yes, you certainly don't want to lose games against sides that you're expected to win, but that's the beauty of football. Challenges present themselves in different manners week in and week out.
Ricky Mott's some aerial ping-pong, then very, very clever. Taps the ball out into Gilmore again. Gilmore gives it to Jones. He's been a terrific player this afternoon, and the youngster on the run has kicked a long running goal. Well, well done to him. He really has been something of an eye-opener from South Coogee. Clint Jones only playing his, 5th game this afternoon, but done very well in the midfield.
He sure has, and he's just provided them a little bit of run. Ricky Mott, good work here, kept the ball alive. Big fella, 6'8", and there it was. Gilmore's handball into the corridor, which was great effort. And young Jones there on his left foot, his non-preferred side, I might add. And he's kicked that wonderfully through as the rain starts to come down, and that 3 points that South are in front. The last couple of goals they've kicked has been very, very important in terms of the context of where the game is at right now.
Well, where the game is at, Peel desperately need the next one because there may not be a lot more goals scored in this match. Joan attacks the ball hard in the middle of the ground, does well to create something here for Byrne, who just soccers it forward, only about 4 or 5 metres. It may get slippery rather quickly. Hardy went back in the second attempt. South Fremantle with a few fists up there. The whistle's gone. I think it's a free kick to South. Let's wait and see.
Hang on, Phil, behind the play there's a report. Tommy Bottrell is going to get a free kick, and I think it's Matthew Woolridge, number 7 there, has been reported for striking Tom Bottrell. So
if looks could kill.
Whatever's unfolded, I didn't actually see it, but I was watching the ball, and out of the corner of my eye I could see something going on, a bit of pushing and shoving. So the umpire there taking control of the situation, and there is an appearance of the tribunal for a couple of players early next week.
Well, there has been quite a physical aspect to this game. Some of it has been legitimate.
He's given the free kick down now into the goal square with South Fremantle, which is very, very interesting, I suppose.
Well, he's saying that I think that the advantage was applied, and so the free kick will take place. And I think he's just explaining there that there was advantage, so the free kick will be taken where the ball landed. So this could be a gimme goal for South Fremantle because it's in the hands.
Well, it's not one of the most reliable goal kickers. David Galt is the man, Phil, with the footy. He's a very, very good half-back flanker. Let's see if he can... I'll tell you what, he'll smile a lot here if he can kick this one through.
Yeah, I've seen him come up forward and kick some valuable goals for South Fremantle. Comes into from 25 metres. David Galt likes it, applauds himself, and the umpire, I'm quite sure, will confirm that's another major for South Fremantle. So 2 quick goals, and South Fremantle, with the rain still starting to come down, there's still plenty of aggro between Bottrell and Wooldridge, but for the moment, David Galt, the peacemaker, and the goal scorer.
Well, it's no good there, Matthew Woolridge. Let's have a look and see if we can see something. There's Woolridge there. There's Tommy Bottrell. Just off screen, we didn't really see what went on. But now, if you look back, depending on what the final outcome's going to be here, Bootsman's the one There's a bit going on behind the scenes, but the wash-up, if Peel lose this game and they lose by a couple of goals or less than a couple of goals, one will look back to the 50-metre penalty that James Byrne kicked a goal on, and that 50-metre penalty there that David Gold kicked a goal. You can't afford in footy to just give away 3 goals when the game is hard enough when you're competing hard against each other.
Yes, and today's about as hard as it gets. Goals like gold this afternoon in difficult conditions. Here's Sir Jan for South Fremantle. Wheels onto the left boot, goes up to Marty Atkins. Did he push? No, the mark's going to stand. Whoops. Marty Atkins prematurely just played on, but shares it now with Gilmore. From a long way out, he's arranging left foot kick. Has it been touched? I don't think so. Daniel Gilmore, what a goal on the run. And that is really going to be a lifting goal for South Fremantle. They've now strung together 3, or is it 4 consecutive goals? I think 3, but none better than that. 4, is it, Doro? Thank you very much.
4 in this quarter,
better.
sorry. Yep.
Than that one from Daniel Gilmore. That's a lifting goal in these conditions.
Well, Marty Atkins, he can probably consider himself lucky there. Young Matthew Woolridge, you know, for mine, did get a bit of a shove, but this young man's finish. He's a rookie-listed player down at Fremantle, but left-footers, they're always very graceful and elegant. Notwithstanding that, that's not because I was a left footer. I can tell you I wasn't.
I know what you mean.
But they look very polished, and young Gilmore there, his finish was very, very good.
I remember seeing Rod Willett wheel onto his left once.
There was only an ever time.
Oldfield got the hand pass out to Bolton. Now, Peel need to go forward and kick a couple of quick unanswered goals here, but Hutchison standing in their way for the time being. The hand pass ineffective, but he was playing the ball, and the umpire said that Derek Hall got into his back. The advantage applied into Amato, drives South Fremantle forward. Here's Atkins again, marshalling troops down forward. Bootsma throws it onto his right boot and just swings it up toward full forward. Good effort there by Welsh to knock the ball away from Parsons, and the Peel defence see the ball safely over the line and out of bounds. That's Josh Parsons.
Yeah, that was an outstanding effort by Grant Welsh. You know, just to be able to spoil the ball away from Zane Parsons. In flight, it looked really like Parsons was in the perfect position to push him out of the contest and take a clean mark. But to enable him to punch the ball was a wonderful effort.
Marty Atkins took the ball out of the contest, threw it onto his right boot, has it clean bowled them all. Well, this is going to be a miraculous goal. Almost impossible to bounce the ball past those 2 players. He bounced it between them. Marty Atkins in his 249th game doing some special things, and South Fremantle just in a trice have blown this game almost wide open.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? The fortunes of footy can change, and here he is. The big fella's always been very adept at being able to do something from these boundary throw-ins inside the 50-metre area. Quickly accessed the footy and got it to boot, but fortune favours the brave because it bounced. A couple of left and rights went through Zane Parsons' legs there in the goal square and registered goal, but could have been completely different. Phil, the rule of the day now, you take that out, you get tackled. Yes. Marty's holding the ball, so 50-50, great result.
They're very difficult to practice those. Oldfield went in, was taken high. No, he wasn't. It was held to him.
Phil, I don't know whether you can see the windsock from over there. It's only got one rope holding it. It looks like the wind might have changed around to the north a little there.
I think it's about to take off. Spinner will end up in the old Fremantle jail, I think. Up went Mott, smashed forward again by South Fremantle. Short cross came off his shins. This is Gilmore, who's had a very, very good game. He floats it up towards the half-forward line, showing great courage there. Getting back was Brandon Hill, and Tinsley, with a hurried left-foot attempt, has seen the ball go over the line and out of bounds. So there's Ray Ball, the president of the Peel Football Club.
Yeah, he would have been smiling, I would have thought, 10 minutes ago, but it's all of a tough game. The fortunes change so very, very rapidly into the modern game as it stands.
Let's hope he wasn't laid out from the president's lunch. Let's see what Marty Atkins can do here. Chance for Walker on this occasion. He's pushed right down into the defence, spent most of the day at half forward. Josh Parsons with a short kick, and it's been marked by Jones.
Got some talent, this young man. You know, he was outnumbered there.
He's done very well. At the risk of repeating myself, the screw kick wasn't terribly good, and Wooldridge, who's been reported this afternoon just a short time ago, has taken the mark, charges away from fullback, long kick to the middle of the ground. Derek Hall had it and then had no one to give it to. Hutchison bursts away. All of a sudden, there's a lot of red and white out there. Bottrell from centre half forward. It floats into the pocket. Atkins, too strong, not paid. May soccer it again and has. Marty Atkins, a former soccer player himself, he is delighted. Still enjoying his footy. 249 games on. With signals to the members. That's another one. Put that down in your book.
Well, the fortunes of footy. 6 goals, South Fremantle kick. It was almost a great mark other than Woolridge thing, but
Had one go.
What great presence of mind. A couple of, stabs at it. Peel had 3 versus 1, really. He was on the ground, so was Brandon Hill. But unfortunately, no Peel defender could get down there and help him out and force that across the goal line. The big fella's kicked the last 2 goals of the game.
So some worries for John Ditchburn at the moment. Just how do they plug these growing holes in the Peel defence? Ricky Mott got the ball down. Hutchison's hurried kick to centre-half forward. Ugle puts a fist into it. Here's Hall. Again, he goes to his knees. Probably needed to keep his feet. Byrne went down. It's getting a bit slippery out there. Josh Parsons feints with a hand pass. Now gives it off. Shawcross run down by Marty Atkins. No whistle. Well, the only whistle is that of the boundary umpire for obvious reasons.
Going down like 9 pins. Now, Jared Shawcross looks a bit sore there. And just before that, a couple of minutes ago, Derek Hall got up pretty gingerly after a contest that he had about 10 seconds ago.
Taken there by Serjan, hurriedly onto the boot. He didn't look. It was touched. Josh Parsons just didn't hear it. The call was quite clear. Now South Fremantle still into attack, but deep in their pocket, and that is dangerous. Wooldridge says, I didn't do it, but the umpire, I think, is going to disagree with him, is he, or not?
What did he do? Did he socket that?
He must have.
Oh, God.
He's getting the benefit of the doubt.
Well, he sort of tripped, but I'm not sure what more you would have to deem that to be deliberate.
Asprey, a clear winner in the ruck. Galt goes flying forward, looking there for a free kick. Hall, close to the line, just gives it up, and Galt was back into the action there momentarily, but the umpire will have to sort all that out. Brad Oldfield just handing the ball back to the umpires, who have done a good job this afternoon. Difficult conditions. There's been plenty of rough and tumble, and they've kept control very well. Throws the ball up. Asprey. Broughton, a socket attempt, but just didn't quite make contact, and Bootsma in front of the members' reserve. Once again, we'll see it tossed back into play.
Those ABC
all weather conditions this afternoon.
Yes, and his footy team's playing tomorrow, and his footy team's playing today. But those boys, the ABC cameramen, do a wonderful job with these close-ups.
Perhaps he knows something we don't. Clump threw it over his head like a boundary umpire. Rushing in there was Serjan. Now Jones, the youngster's hand pass, finds its mark again. Galt snaps on goal, but can't bend this one back far enough. And that's more like a back pocket player.
Well, never mind, Goldie's got one on the board, so he'll be pretty happy with his effort.
So kick back into play by Peel Thunder now. Breeze grabbing it slightly. Chance now for Jones once again, just knocking up, getting possessions. Most of them forward of his centre wing in this quarter because the ball's been down there a lot. Peel Thunder under all sorts of pressure. Still, though, South Fremantle have got the run of it. Serjan onto his left boot, and again, it's a hurried shot. So Peel Thunder throwing everything at South, but just the ball bouncing the way of South Fremantle at the moment. So John Ditchburn, as we said, really has got some concerns, and at the moment he'd be running out of ideas because it looks as though Stephen Pears has a hamstring injury and he won't be able to come back on. Derek Hall, the skipper, he's deep in defence, trying to plug holes, but there just are a number of them opening up at the moment. Mott from behind fists it. Ugle will get the crumbs. He's right on the attacking 50 and spears it beautifully. That was great vision. Tinsley just created something for him in open space at centre-half forward, and Kieran Ugle has steered it right down his throat.
He's had enjoying that move. He's been moved up from the back line into the forward line, and most defenders, usually love that when they get up there, that bit of freedom. They can go and actually express themselves in the forward half of the ground. Sean Tinsley, he wouldn't kick too many goals, I wouldn't have thought.
No, this will be his first this afternoon if he can steer it through. The umpire makes a lot of ground to his right. That's a minor score only. Well, Tinsley was under pressure down there from Scott Simister, so he was moved forward, and all of the play has followed him down there as we get an idea there of how hard it is raining here at Fremantle Oval just at the moment.
Yeah, pretty tough conditions, there's no doubt about that.
Shawcross keeps it low and finds his man out there in McLean. Now it's Brandon Hill. Short pass straight through the hands there of Asprey. This ball getting very, very slippery. South is on the ground for Peel Thunder. This is Asprey once again. Drives the ball up toward the half-forward line. The ball carries those two players. Getting back quickly now, Peel Thunder. I think it was Clump there who just couldn't control it, and the ball has beaten them all over the goal line and a force behind to the Thunder.
It's amazing how quickly the game changes. Like, 20 minutes ago, Scotty Simister was causing all sorts of problems down there for South Fremantle. He hasn't seen the ball since they made that move. Thornton went on to him, but the ball's not been there.
Speak of Thornton, driving kick down towards the centre of the ground. Clean hands there by Ugle. And he just adds a touch of class to it, doesn't he? Goes to Mott, who's had a good game. The backup from Bootsma. Out wide, Brandon Hill, who's been solid and often under pressure for Peel Thunder this afternoon. Now, Clucas hasn't reappeared. Now, Rod Willett alerted us to the fact that there may be something wrong with him as Hill goes short and finds Asprey. Asprey with rather awkward but effective kicking style down toward the half-forward line. Kingsley Walker with the run of it. Now, he needs to shoot at goal here. In fact, he elects not to. That was clever because his teammate there in Farmer, I think, has dropped back into the goal square. Good vision by Walker just to chip the ball into his arms, and he will shoot at goal from almost directly in front. We'd have to say this is a certain goal.
Good. It is, Philip. I shouldn't have said that, but never mind. But you would think so. Looking at it there on the tip of the goal square, 10 metres out.
So Farmer comes in. Whoops. And he's hit the post. Well, there's no such thing as a certainty.
All those people out there that are tuning into the ABC television right now, there's a couple of vacant seats available within 2 or 3 minutes.
Well, Farmer, that was just a golden opportunity gone begging to poor Mandamerry. Has gone short to Thornton.
Geez, I knew I shouldn't have said that.
Now, the first sortie forward by Peel for quite a while, and it was one that should have resulted in a goal. Now South Fremantle have possession again. And the pattern of this third quarter has been that once they get possession, apart from the first few minutes, they retain it. John Northey's gone down onto the boundary line, directing traffic from down there. Hutchison with a long kick towards centre wing. Ugle patrolling the back of the pack. With him is South. And the ball eludes them all and goes over. 28, nearly 29 minutes gone in the third quarter, and whilst the second quarter was a decisive points victory to Peel Thunder, this third quarter has been a resounding victory to South Fremantle.
Sure has. They've had plenty on the scoreboard, Phil. 6 goals 4 to 1 goal 2, so it's been a terrific win for the Bulldogs.
Mott, Oldfield's in there. Eventually it comes to Ugle, who turns on a 5-cent piece, then delivers to the half-forward line. South Fremantle player almost got a push in the back. That was Gilmore. Serjan gives it to Byrne. He goes into the pocket. Right over the top went the defenders in Welsh. And that is Welsh, number 25. Adequately defending the ball away from Zane Parsons on that occasion. When you consider that Parsons today, John, has only kicked a couple of goals out of 12. Not a bad effort by Welsh.
He's done very well.
Nothing in this third quarter when South Fremantle have been in attack virtually for the entire time. Bottrell puts his head down. Picking it up there was Amato, wrestled off his kick, just managed to get boot to ball, and the ball has rolled over once again.
It's good to see a lot of the young junior players from South Fremantle's zone making their mark. A lot of these boys played in a successful Colts team last year when they won the grand final. So it's terrific to see that John Northey has the courage to promote youth and give them opportunity.
Yes, and they're returning him.
It's on again, Tommy Bottrell and somebody else this time. It looks like there's a Peel free kick, which he's got.
Yeah, Broughton turned it into a hand pass. Sinister's gone deep into defence and goes with a short pass to a teammate out there in South. Sinks the left boot into it. Good mark taken by Waldridge. Well, time's running out. Can they get a goal before the siren? Oldfield kicks it to open space at centre half forward. It bounces inside 50. Tapua Mandamerry backed his judgment. There was run down in a tackle. Hurried kick there by Jones once again towards the centre of the ground. Broughton's taken the mark. Here's another chance for Peel Thunder. Parsons, Josh Parsons, short to Hall. He needs to get on with it quickly. The umpire's calling him to play on. Hall can't hear him. Steady with his pass now to a teammate who's just come on the ground. I think Aaron Welsh, that's Grant Welsh's brother. He's called to play on. Spears a pass up towards Waldridge. Can't take it. They need a crummer down here. Oldfield, the hand pass. Swatted down by Farmer. Going to his knees there was Derek Hall. Gets support from South. Hand pass, Oldfield. Taps it further afield. Hildebrandt's been quiet this quarter. Now it's Broughton from just a step. Goes with a searching kick toward full forward. Kirkham's there. No, it was Kingsley Walker. And there is the siren. Peel Thunder thwarted for a goal-scoring opportunity right there. Frustration shown by Kingsley Walker. Three-quarter time in South Fremantle after a great term. 12 goals, 7-79. Peel Thunder are 8-5-53.
Payne thinks his side's right in this. He said, just have a crack. Let's keep on our players, and we'll give them a run for their money.
Final quarter commences at Fremantle Oval, and Peel Thunder have first use of it. Darren Bolton bursts away from the centre of the ground, straight down the middle. Graham for South Fremantle fisting the ball out and toward open space. Jones went to ground. He was number 8. Here's a chance for Peel Thunder. They really do need to keep the ball in the area. Edgecombe played it cleverly. Waldridge goes to ground. Soccering the ball off the ground there was Edgecombe once more. Now Peel Thunder through. Bolton has a shot at goal. What's it done? Just the wrong side. Bolton started celebrating. Then the breeze got a hold of it and the minor score was the result.
Well, pretty good start from. Interesting to note there, after Rod Willett spoke to John Northey, John Northey's elected to go down and sit in the dugout down at ground level rather than coming up to the top level of where our commentary position is, which is quite interesting.
Interesting move on a day like this. Thornton's kick goes astray. It's been marked by Walker. So Peel Thunder, should he be able to find a man here who's in a position to have a shot? They need an early goal. They did that in their third quarter, then things backfired.
Let's go now, Peel, hurry up.
John Northey at ground level, just keeping an eye on proceedings. Now Walker's told to play on, so he goes for distance towards full forward. Well, Simister kept his eyes on it, just got the break on Thornton, who couldn't stay with him, and Scott Simister has marked, well, the best part of 45 or 46 metres out from goal. So, again, a testing kick, but none better for Peel Thunder to have the ball.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenging kick. His last one he had, Phil, in the second quarter in the central corridor area, he got under. And in this instance, you probably need to come back and have a greater run-up so your momentum is more fluent when you're going to kick the football. See what he does.
He's kicked 4. Simister starts it well out to the right. The breeze, well, has dropped perhaps marginally, just didn't bring it back enough, and the minor score.
He's had a pretty good day, though. 4 goals, 3 he's now got. I think I've got him down for 4. I think at three-quarter time he had 4-2, so 4-3 that would be.
Well, there's Tahua Mantameri.
He had a stint on Marty Atkins as well, I think.
He did, yes. He's had a few tasks this afternoon. There's a good juggling mark out there for Ugle, who's been one of the players of the match. Made light of the difficult conditions, Ugle. Nearly found his man again. The ball close to the boundary line. Broughton. Hill was pushed off it. South Fremantle player had the ball far too long there. It was a good tackle. No advantage, so the ball is going to come back to the tackler, who I think is South. Applied the tackle on South's Bottrell. Now South going up to the half-forward line. Asprey uncontested, so this wouldn't be pleasing John Northey just at the moment. Peel Thunder getting too much easy ball at the moment. Asprey goes up towards Simister, using some body against Thornton, but Thornton very clean with his hands, picks it up, goes across the face of goal and finds Tahua Mantameri. He goes to the half-back line. Too long there for Galt and Josh Parsons. This is Burns soccering the ball along the ground. Running past him was a teammate there in Clump who did particularly well, and now he was taken in a tackle. The ball clearly held to him. That was David Galt going over the top, and the umpire's whistle has gone. Been an enthralling match, and the spectators here this afternoon, those lucky enough to be in the members' reserve, have enjoyed it. Saw perhaps something there that the umpire didn't see. A handful of Peel jumper being held. Here's Atkins. Hands it off to Hutchison, a high kick towards centre-half forward. Zane Parsons couldn't make it stick. Gilmore wheels around under the left boot, passes the ball. Well, that was Josh Parsons, I beg your pardon. Was he pushed in the back? The umpire says yes. Well, his momentum was forward. In the umpire's opinion, he was helped by his opponent. And so Zane Parsons will shoot at goal from about 25 metres out, and the angle not difficult.
It was a pretty sloppy kick in the first bit. Didn't give Parsons a lot of chance. He had to go down at ground level. And a very pensive Bulldog supporter there. This guy's a pretty reliable kick, though, so still would need to kick it, I would have thought, just to that left side of that goal post.
Had a wonderful state game last year at this very venue, and Zane Parsons has made no mistake. He's got his 3rd goal on the board and made pretty good use of his opportunities. He's kicked a goal in the second, a goal in a first, second, I beg your pardon, and the 4th now, so 3 goals straight. He's not a bad return.
Yeah, he's been a good kick, and you see Gilmore's kick there at his feet. Unfortunately, Zane's direct opponent there, Grant Welsh, who's done a pretty good job, you know, during the course of the afternoon. Unfortunately, his momentum cannoned into the back of Zane, and the rules, the way they're written, it's a free kick because you're just not allowed to push people in the back. Wasn't intentional, but he takes the free kick and registers his 3rd goal for the afternoon.
Peel Thunder need to fight this out. I'm sure they will. But there's the scoreline. It's around 30 points now. A straight 5 goals. The ball clearly won out of the centre there by South Fremantle, although Oldfield puts his head down, hand passes it up to an immediate opponent there in Amato. He goes forward. Parsons again down there. Can he snap a miraculous goal? He can't, because Kirkham gets possession and charges it through for a force behind. So Kirkham, who's spent most of the afternoon in attack, is now deep in defence, and Shawcross has been a little bit premature in releasing the ball. Obviously, he had tried to kick it out before the umpire had stopped waving the flags. Wanted to take issue with the umpire, but the rules are the rules. Now all leads are covered. He had Kirkham on his own, and now Shawcross is asked by the umpire to get on with it, which he does, out towards half-back, and the mark has been taken out there by Welsh. This is the younger brother, I think, Aaron Welsh. We saw Clucas there in the dugout. Not taking any more part in this match. We wouldn't think they wouldn't risk him when the match seems to be reasonably safe. They'll be hoping that he can be fit next week for a top-of-the-table clash with Swan Districts. Here's Tapua Mantameri. Got it out somehow to Bootsma. May have been illegal. Bootsma, he's dispossessed. The ball kicked up forward, perhaps by Edgecombe, but the mark has been chopped off now by Ugle. Right in the middle of the ground, South standing the mark. A lot of players forward of centre for South Fremantle. Ugle spots something, and it's Adam Hay. Hasn't had a lot to do since quarter time. The ball cleared his head. Now Brandon Hill on the burst. Delivers to just backward of centre. South's taken the mark. Hill's backed up again. This is the sort of football that Brandon Hill likes. Directs the ball out towards the half-forward line. Walker, a good contest. Kept his feet and then had them taken from underneath him. So that was very good work there by Kingsley Walker. Gets to his feet hurriedly because he spots a man at half-forward. That's South, who's one well down the ground for him. South well out in front of Simister. In fact, too far out in front of him. Thornton with him. Simister gets possession, shrugs the tackle. He's a long way out, but at least inside 50, drills it out goal, and that is a fantastic effort. Well, Scotty Simister really had to chase the ball down there, beat a couple of opponents, then steady and kick the goals, and that would make it, John, one of the goals of the match.
I'm sure would. He went to the other side of the ground, the tough side again for the kick, but he went over there. He's registered his 5th goal. You'll see this one, the pass goes right over the other side of the ground where Simister's the back man there for Peel. Had to do a terrific amount of work. Thornton thought he did okay. Just slipped that tackle, and great acceleration from Scotty Simister there. Head over the ball, kick right through it. 5 goals on a day like today when your side's only kicked 9 has been a very, very good effort.
Well, they're inside 5 goals now. There's a terrific knock there by Adam Hay, but Shawcross, it almost landed on his boot. Back toward the middle of the ground. Smithers paddles it for Hay, who gives a high up and under towards right half-forward flank. Bottrell is out there, but the ball cartwheels away from he and Broughton, and the ball will be thrown in once again. The game day ball with the picture of John Jerovich on it, taking that famous mark.
It's a very interesting game up at Arena Joondalup, Phil. East Fremantle are 1 goal behind.
Yes, and you can imagine the conditions up there would be every bit as difficult as they are down here. Smithers, good perseverance, was taken high.
Well done, this guys. Well done.
Well, particularly when the Sharks are looking to register their first win of the season. They've lost very closely in their first 2 rounds. They need a win.
Smithers up towards the full forward region. Well, they're within goal scoring distance. Galt was off balance. The ball spirals into the pocket. Now Kirkham gets back there. Touches the ball down once, then goes back the other way. The outer side of the ground where most of the action has been this afternoon. Boone went over the top and spoiled it away from Clump. Those two have been playing on each other for much of the afternoon. There's James Boone.
He's been outstanding in the first couple of years. In the Budget's Football of the Year, James Bourne has been awarded 2 BOG, so he's leading that award.
May not be able to put 3 together, although he has the footy again. Centering kick, Galt was up there, so too Josh Parsons. Well, there was a free kick maybe on offer there. Parsons had it, Galt was taken high. Well, David Galt, I think, was the player who played for the free kick initially, and then the second time round it was quite obvious.
He certainly got that, earned that one. Zane Parsons getting a bit of oh, that was a very vicious tackle, I suppose, from Grant Welsh. Pretty reckless.
Right around the jugular.
Yes, you certainly don't want him. David Galt's eyes are light up. He's now shooting for his 2nd goal.
But a good lesson for young kids there too. Get in and get the ball a second effort rather than trying to milk the free kick.
David Galt. Now, this is almost the identical spot from where young Clayton South kicked the ball from a moment ago and hit the, well, beg your pardon, toward the end of the 3rd quarter and hit the post. Galt, a much more experienced player, comes in, makes no mistake about it. So David Galt has indeed got his 2nd goal and the margin back out to that 5 goals once again.
He's been all right, David. He struggled up in the back half early on, and James Byrne here on screen. You'll see Galt forces the ball, keeps it all alive, but his 2nd effort, he was held impeded there slightly. went to ground, terrific. His third effort, really. His third effort was resulting in that free kick. And he went back here, a little bit further out than that young man, Clayton South, which at that time Phil and I thought was certainly, well, Phil thought it was, and just
I still think it was a certainty.
Just due to respect, I thought I'd acknowledge that and agree, and what a dummy I turned out to be.
Waldridge is in ruck, and well, not for the first time this afternoon there's been a kicking in danger. That was quite blatant. The free kick going the way of Hay. Sends it out wide to Puamantameri. Now South Fremantle going forward once again. Parsons over the top, couldn't take the mark. This is Zane Parsons. Got it out to Waldridge, to Welsh. Bolton to Shawcross. Was tackled there for a while but got clear. Here's Hill under pressure from Marty Atkins, and I think Marty might have just exerted a bit too much pressure. Overzealous, and the free kick will go the way of Jared Shawcross.
And deserving so. Hill was in front, yeah. Brandon made the play.
Hill looking for a teammate there in Clump. He took it a little bit casually. Has a second chance, though, and hand passes to Bolton. Tried to kick it off his outstep. He saw a man outside wide. That was South. Bolton in after it again. He was taken high, surely. No whistle. Play on's the call. Peel Thunder really feeling the pressure now from South Fremantle.
I wonder whether Rodney could feel that bump that Darren Bolton just did on Tippermanter, like in the effects microphone that I could hear in my ear. He really went in there and crunched him, and there he is on screen.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah, he's taken it, but it'll be great if we could get that one back, because you could feel it. Bang, he hit him hard.
Waldridge won it. Byrne taken in a tackle to Puamantameri once again. The hand pass looped over the top cleverly for Smithers. Another one on to Ugle. He carries the football almost to the 50 and then shoots long at goal. And some pushing down there again for Welsh. Welsh and Parsons been a good duel, and Welsh on this occasion sees it safely through for a behind. We'll give that one to Kieran Ugle. The designated kicker this afternoon has been Jared Shawcross, and that's why he's a very good foot pass. He finds Welsh, then backs up for him. A little bit of finessing, caused a kick low. Good tackle applied by Hutchison out there. Bootsma got it to Hay. Now a running shot here from Gilmore. Doesn't have a shot. In fact, he goes into the pocket. A good effort here by Galt. The ball fell into his arms. David Galt suddenly has got three. Well, the ball was meant, I'm sure, for Parsons. Didn't take it cleanly. Galt just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and sometimes that's what's happened when you've been sent up forward to create a few opportunities.
Yeah, it sure does. And I think you'll see the kick that comes in here now from Gilmore. Zane Parsons would have normally swallowed that, it appears, but he got knocked in the contest. But David Galt, fortuitously at the back of that contest and at ground level, was able to snap his third. So he'll have plenty to tell Kingsley Hutchison after the game, because they sometimes do have a bit of a chat. John Northey in the dugout, bit of a deep breath, sigh of relief, because he wouldn't have looked as comfortable as what he does there on screen, I reckon, 29 minutes into the second quarter.
Yes, the margin's now blowing out to in excess of 6 goals. And South go forward again. Kirkham in the way on this occasion, staging perhaps for 50. Now he's called the play on. He just deviated off his line, so Kirkham sends the ball out to the outer wing. Hutchison's there ahead of Hall. Just a hand pass, not very tidy. Gilmore, though, makes light of it. His game's been very, very good. On this occasion, he ran too wide over the line and out of bounds. 14 minutes played in the final quarter. 38 points, the margin. So, again, by the looks of it, Peel Thunder's woes will continue. Good control shown out there by Jones, who's been a standout this afternoon, giving it off to Byrne. Running pass from Byrne to Parsons. That's really good football now. Gee, I hope that's not serious. Parsons pulled up very, very quickly there. Maybe just holding the front of his thigh. Leapt high, came down with that straight leg and grimaces. They could ill afford to lose Zane Parsons. Been a reliable returner as far as goals are concerned. Kick free this afternoon, has an unblemished record on the score sheet. Let's see what he can do with this one. Ambles in to about 35 metres, lays back on it, and the ball comes off the side of his boot and goes through for a behind.
I reckon he's going to come off the ground too right now on screen. Gingerly coming. I think the runner's out there, and he probably shouldn't have kicked that, really, because he may very well have strained something. That last mark where David Galt scored the goal, there was some appeared to be some drama on the ground with him with the injury.
So the ball back into play. Waldridge kicks it from very, very low to the ground, and the ball tumbles over the line and out of bounds.
Maybe Brad Bootsma should have been a bit more switched on then, maybe being close with a quick handball out to the right, and, you know, he doesn't look good, and he's the leading goal kicker in the competition to this point of the season. He's 3 today, now give him 13 at the completion of 3 rounds nearly.
Well, young Jacob Surjan's going to get another chance as Parsons comes off. Meanwhile, on the outer side of the ground, Bootsma close to the boundary line. Jones just couldn't keep it in.
I think you called it right there earlier, John. He did hurt it in that original contest, and it could be a groin. If I got a sneak look, then it might be a groin.
Hay opposed to Waldridge. Just finesses the ball down. South was in there as well. The umpire calls into play on a lot of players. There must be 20 players around the ball at the moment. Hardy got it from South, drives it into the pocket. Simister was too far underneath it. Thornton gets back quickly, and then a good shepherd from Hutchison sees Thornton dispose of it to Bootsma. Long one on toward Galt. Now I think it might have been Amato who clears the ball towards centre wing. Diving effort there by Broughton, but Smithers left on his feet, dishes it off to Hay, but the kick ill-directed, and Kirkham stands in the way for Peel Thunder.
And he had to clear his head by a couple of metres. Phillip would have landed in Marty Atkins's lap then.
This is Shawcross. God. Well, that was a waste of a kick, just a bit too casual. The target was that man there, the Welsh, the younger, Aaron Welsh. But instead the ball's been turned over, and that must be frustrating for Peel supporters. Gilmore has had a lot of the ball. Called to play on as he wheels around onto his left boot, but gets it away all right. In towards centre half forward. Tinsley hit the pack hard. Hill, that's Brandon Hill with a clearing kick towards centre wing again. Galt was number 41. Hall, number 9 for Peel Thunder. Had it momentarily. Now he gives it off to Oldfield. Bradley Oldfield toward the half-forward line. Sinister again outnumbered. He had 3 to beat. Getting back there in numbers, South Fremantle. Graham got the hand pass away to Bootsma, who's got tons of time. The pressure really has been taken off now by Peel Thunder. Hay went up, contested in the air. This is Amato. Got a call out wide. I don't know if it was from this man, but Jones accepted it. Wobbles the left footer up towards the full forward zone. Here's a chance for Smithers. Can he snap a goal? It'll be his first if it goes through, but no, the umpire watches it go across the face. And Ray Smithers has brought up only the minor score.
It was very good play by the man on screen there, just to be able to trap the ball and then be able to get himself composed around, have a snap. But he probably had a little bit more time than he realised then, and good effort.
Brandon Hill again gets it from Shawcross. He has nowhere to go. Bolton had his jumper held close to the line. He keeps it in, and now it's Grant Welsh who just walks it over.
One of the more positive things for South as well, Phil, is that when a side like Peel does tie them up, they've got so many players that they can put through the midfield.
Yeah, there's a lot of options there, no doubt about it. And some of those options are just young players. Here's one of them. Surjan hit the ball hard. His disposal on that occasion wasn't so good, so Broughton takes advantage of it. His kick to the middle of the ground has found Walker. Been a reliable competitor this afternoon. Walker sends the ball out to the wing. Bolton hasn't stopped running. His first game this afternoon for Peel Thunder, coming back from suspension, and he will no doubt get better.
50 metres he's going to pay against him. Yeah, I thought so. Just watching it, it just seems so quick. The man clearly marked the ball, and Kipper's going back there for 50 metres.
Gee, the South Fremantle supporters don't like it, John, but I think it was on.
Well, we'll have a look. Hopefully we've got a replay, because the rule is once it's a clear mark, and certainly from where I was watching it, the Peel player there on screen, there it is, a clear mark. Bang, no need to do that. 50 metres, cop your whack. Don't argue, because you didn't have to do that at all.
So this should be, well, I've said that before, haven't I? Edged
I don't agree yet.
From a difficult angle. Let's see what he can do. His game has been a good one. Faded out a bit in that third quarter, but so did most of the Peel players as South took control, but Greg Edgecombe has steadied and put through a goal for Peel. That puts them into double figures, and his game on balance has been a good one for Peel Thunder this afternoon, and he's a player that we can look forward to the future, because he is actually on Fremantle's playing list.
He sure is. He comes from the strong Eastern under-18s out there, and that's in the TAC area over there, the big competition that's there. But you'll see here, Peel worked the ball beautifully. Darren Bolton's pass to him was a beauty, young Edgecombe, and there you are. It's clear as the nose on Tipper's little face there that he didn't have to do that. He did, and I've liked this kid. He's had a good bit of football, and one of the jewels he had for a period of time there, he was on young Daniel Gilmore, who is a rookie-listed player at Fremantle, so it's good for both of those boys to be in the thick of the action.
Adam Hay had his eyes on it, knocked it down Serjan. Here is Gilmore, who's been a prolific ball winner this afternoon. Tried to cut back onto his left, but was caught holding the ball. Well, sometimes cutting back onto your left side when your opponents expect it can be dangerous. Bolton was the tackler, uses the free kick, looking for Edgecombe once again. Getting pretty gloomy here at Fremantle Oval. South Fremantle through Jones. The ball, well, that player there for South Fremantle ran into some opposition. It was Adams, and so Peel clearing the ball back toward the middle of the ground. It was Hardy. This is South. Now Derek Hall got it off to Edgecombe once again. Steadies, goes with a low foot pass. Simister. Can he kick his sixth? He was held without it. Well, again, the South Fremantle supporters don't like it. Scotty Thornton is disgusted, but Scott Simister could kick his sixth.
He sure could, and Scotty Thornton's giving us a bewildered look there, but it's an interesting one. When the lead came out, it looked like that Scotty Simister was having his jumper held, which is impeding his run to the football.
Number 6 in the offing here for Scott Simister has made no mistake about it. 6 goals. That is a very good effort by Simister this afternoon. He's had 9 shots at goal, and especially in the third quarter, limited opportunities. But Peel of Thunder are hanging in there, John.
They sure are. And we'll see Derek Hall, who's got a bit more of the footy. This young guy, as I said previously, Edgecombe, I've been very, very impressed with him. And we'll just see, there it is, off screen. You slightly saw it. There's one hand. That's okay there, but there was the one that happened before that when Simister didn't have any control of the football. You're just not allowed to repeat anybody's progress to the footy.
Fine effort, that. 6 goals, 3. So Peel Thunder, you would think, are going to be beaten by time. 15 goals, 11 to 11-7. They've still got some catching up to do. Quick goals, the order of the day, but South Fremantle very competitive at centre field, as they have been all day. South pulled off his kick. Going in after it there was Serjan. His kick blanketed, but now Bootsma got it from Smithers. Bootsma kicks on goal. Is that the quick reply? It is. South Fremantle will not be outdone, and Brad Bootsma, who kicked 2 very early goals, they were both in the first quarter, gets a pat on that new look head. He's got his 3rd for the afternoon.
Yes, and look, it just shows the benefit of running and all the hard work, the pressure. Ray Smithers, I think it was young Surgeon,
yes,
kicked it into the back of Brad Bootsma, but Smithers handball off the ground quickly to the running person, which was Brad Bootsma, who's probably the best kick in the side there, certainly on the run in terms of distance and penetration. 14 possessions, it's not a huge day by them, so it probably gives you an indication. James Byrne as well, Phil, was another one that's only had 16 or 18, but had a 31 possession game last week against Perth at Lathlane Park.
Indeed. Mott in ruck, but he brings it down only as far as Bolton, who's been good at that this afternoon, sharking it from centre field. Again, it's Peel Thunder going forward. Here's Farmer, dribbles it up towards the vacant goal space, but the ball travels across the face and goes over.
The rain is starting to come down again quite heavily, and probably at the conclusion of the game, as we're not far away from the final siren. But
we've been pretty lucky rugging up the order of the day.
Ice on, ice on.
Graham looks as though he'll compete the ruck duel down there, and in fact he's blanketed out of that contest, so free kick to him, and now the advantage is applied. Thornton sprinted away, and what's he done?
Run too far. Yeah.
Well, Scott Thornton, he'll be looking forward to getting into the showers.
And have a look who's got the footy in his hand. He's Scotty Simister, very good at kicking a torpedo. I don't know whether he's got the courage to have a crack at it now. It'd want to be a very good torpedo, but
I don't know if he has got it. He's got it now.
It, yeah.
Simister goes with a long shot. It's not going to make the distance. Falls a little short. South Fremantle playing safety first. Knock it into the pocket. Serjan was there, and the youngster not going to get a free kick. The ball will be thrown in. Smithers and Tapua Mantameri getting to him. Serjan, obviously a promising youngster. We've seen a few of them this afternoon. Clint Jones is the other. Really just had a handful of games between them. Tapua Mantameri couldn't control it. Bolton has had a pretty good game. That's a terrific shot on goal. He got the check side working for him, but just couldn't find the major opening.
Well, he's certainly going to be a lot better for this run, Darren Bolton, on screen. He's a great competitor. There's no doubt about that. And I just wonder, like, if he was fitter and stronger and his body shape was a little bit better, as to whether he'd be a further better player than he is already.
But it looks as though he needs a few runs. This was Mott who got it on to Ugle. Chip pass into the middle of the ground, and the man taking that is Amato. He's another of the youngsters. Kicks it up toward the half-forward line. Byrne starting to look a little bit tired. He's covered a lot of ground. Got the hand pass away. Jones knocked away from him. Bottrell now puts the boot into it. Bootsma couldn't pick it up. It's getting slippery. Gilmore dispossessed, but he goes in after it again. That was a great concerted effort. Kicks the ball up toward the full forward zone. Kirkham under a lot of pressure. Got the kick away. Oldfield leading the race to the footy. He's got Smithers to beat. That won't be easy because Smithers always gives a great contest. Oh, he kept it in play brilliantly for Galt. Galt said, give it to me, I might kick my fourth. Goes up long on goal. Flew down there. Ugle was the high flyer. Brandon Hill stayed at ground level and goes with a very short pass. It was just a bit too short in the end. They're under a lot of pressure now. South Fremantle. Byrne got it down to a teammate there. I was just undecided. Was it Bottrell?
Tommy Bottrell.
Tommy Bottrell had the shot at goal and hit the post.
He's not a big prolific goal scorer, Tom, but he certainly would have loved to have been on to the end of a couple of flags waving there. And it was a quick kick too. He got it very quickly from James Byrne, and just to able to get a quick snap at it was a good effort.
Kirkham back to Shawcross.
Kick with your right foot, Jared.
He's been in this situation a few times today, just kicking the ball in, getting it back, and then finding the next option just isn't there. Keeps it low. Very, very low and onto the chest of Oldfield, which is quite low in itself. High kick up towards centre wing, uncontested there. Mott really should have done better, but the breeze is swirling the ball around a bit. It's difficult to judge. Kingsley Walker, hand pass out now. Good run shown there by, was it Edgecombe once again? In fact, it was South. Peel Thunder going forward, socking the ball away. Was that man Amato once again, who's done some clever things in defence since coming onto the ground.
He's not a bad, he's a likely type too, the young man on screen there. He's from the Fremantle Hawks, game number 4 for South Fremantle, and just one of another young players that has come up through from the local district within South Fremantle's region.
That man there from Dumble Young, Ricky Mott. Tapua Mantameri assists. With him is South. Tapua Mantameri was lifted bodily off the foot. He has a chance now for Bolton. Sidesteps, straightens up. Can he kick a goal? Well, it's not going to make the distance. Thornton this time desperate enough just to force the ball through for a rushed.
Very, very good effort there on the last line of defence by Scotty Thornton. Scotty Simister was pushing him, trying to get his body out of the line there, but Thornton desperate there, as you can see. Just quickly evaded that boot that was coming from Kingsley Walker.
Well, Thornton runs on. He got it from Ugle, now gives it back to Ugle, tit for tat. They've cleared the defensive 50. Now they go up towards centre wing. Here's Amato once again. He's on the burst. Driving South Fremantle forward. Late in the game, he's getting plenty of it. Good mark taken down there. Well judged in flight. It was Gilmore. He's just been everywhere. Galt on the end of that. Well, Peel Thunder have been run ragged, and David Galt had a terrific afternoon after John Doherty said. Struggled down back early, but he's kicked 3 second-half goals.
Well, he's lining up for his 3rd goal now in the final quarter, and I can tell you, if he goes back and kicks this one, he'll be the happiest man on Fremantle Oval at the moment. Like David, I'm not sure as to whether he's ever kicked 4 goals in half a game of footy.
Well, that's the contract ahead of him. David Galt shoots at goal, makes absolutely no mistake at all. It's been a great goal-kicking performance by David Galt in the second half. 1 in the 3rd quarter, and as John Doherty just said, he's now got 3 in this final term. Yeah,
well, look, you look on the scoreboard there, and it's a 39-point lead at this point of time to South Fremantle. And you think that's very comfortable, but the scoreboard can sometimes tell a lot of stories. 4 goals straight is a great effort after not having the best of it up the back half, but 39 points for the Bulldogs. They'd be wrapped with this final result, which is nearly coming to an end. Peel would be disappointed, I would have thought, with their second half performance. Very, very poor.
Yes, they certainly still have a lot of work in front of them. Ricky Mott has been a terrific ruckman this afternoon. He's opposed to Waldridge, who's conceding a lot of height. Mott wins it. This is Oldfield. The hand pass went to South. That's South for Peel. He goes to the half-forward line, and Walker certainly been one of the solid tries for Peel Thunder this afternoon. Short pass is a good one, and it has been marked out there by Edgecombe. No doubt a player of the future.
Phil, hasn't been a great day for Peel Thunder, but we saw them against Claremont, I think, in the first round or something, and they were a lot worse than this. I think they've carried the ball quite well. They've shown some good positive signs, I think, today.
Yeah, there are good signs there. They just need to be able to carry those good signs and show those good signs for a more prolonged period of time. Certainly had a very good second quarter this afternoon, which they won convincingly. Edgecombe keeps it low into the breeze, but South Fremantle uncontested down there. Ricky Mott, but now he's called to play on. Wild kick back up towards where Edgecombe is from one step. Edgecombe kicks it back toward Ricky Mott, or has it cleared him? Well, it's cleared him, but it's gone the wrong side of the post.
He got himself into a bit of trouble then. The big fella took a very good, strong defensive mark down there on the last line of defence, but ran around a little bit. The umpire was forced to call him play on.
Thornton, long kick in. Wooldridge flew and took a good mark. Well, a late highlight in this game. Certainly Wooldridge would be happy with that effort. Shares it now to Oldfield, who's called to play on. He was off anyway, between three South Fremantle players. He kicks it up very, very high. He just about ran out of room, and Derek Hall, well, that was floating.
What about this in replay? You know, one of the sad things, I suppose, and I don't know whether it's sad, in WAFL football now, there's not a photographer here.
Yes.
Back in the old days, you and I played, no AFL, there's people from the print media here taking photographs. That guy, Wooldridge, imagine having a photograph of that now. Rod Willett's got hundreds of those sort of things sitting at home.
He was usually the guy that they were jumping over the top of. As the siren goes to end this match, Derek Hall, this is all academic. Hall has shot at goal. It doesn't look like a bad effort. We just wait for confirmation. It is, in fact, a major. So Peel Thunder ending there on a high note, but it really has been a second half dominated by South Fremantle. You see the scoreline there, 17 goals, 12, 114 to Peel Thunder's 12 goals, 10, 82.